You'll know you will know I'm late, but if you're not in my Discord, well, then you're just finding out. Sorry, I had to do some homework. Hey,
Oh, what's up, man? If you need a minute to get your live going, I can come back in a sec.
you're good, bro. Go ahead.
For sure. What do you think on the first prompt? Do you think it's like a good thing that happened
Yes.
for Iran? Yeah. Even
Hmm.
though we're trying to put in a regime change, you think
Wait,
it's
what do you mean
good?
for
It was
Iran?
like Iran losing their water plant.
They're heavy water plant. Heavy water is only used for nuclear capabilities.
Have a good day, man.
Why did he run away? What the what the heck was that? Okay. He had no argument. I didn't even know we were arguing. I thought I don't even know what he thought actually. He could have just been like, "Oh, okay," or "Yeah, I already knew that." I don't even know what he thought. He just he just fucking he just bolted. All right, whatever. That's cool. What a fucking weirdo. Anyways, hello everyone. We're just gonna get right into it because obviously I'm already late. But yes, hello everyone. Sorry if hey, what's up, Oren? Yeah, sorry if you guys aren't in my Discord, should probably it'd be easier. Yes, mommy. Hey, I'm right here. I'm right here. What are you yelling at? Hmm? Hmm? Anyways, so do you know ragdolls originate in Riverside? I didn't know that. I think I knew it was California. I didn't know it was specifically Riverside. This little girl originates in Delano. That's where the breeders were, at least. Hmm. Isn't it kind of crazy that cats smell so good, even though their breath is like poopy tuna butthole breath? Moderate, don't make me mute you, dude.
Thank you, Mark.
I gotta be real.
Thanks,
Whether
Natalie.
it's dogs or cats, if you hate either one, it's just a huge red flag to me. I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't trust you as a person. I'm not saying if you prefer one over the other. That's not what I'm talking about. No. Moderate says he hates cats. I'm gonna hope he's trolling, but either way, that's just grounds for muting. That's just grounds for muting. Anyone who
Thank you,
says they
Tina.
hate cats, just mute them. Just mute them permanently. It's not even worth it.
I love you guys.
She's so young. Yeah. I have cats. I also love dogs too. There's people who hate dogs, just don't trust you. Really any animal, to be honest. But I'm just saying like dogs and cats, like I can't trust somebody that does that. Anyways, oh wow, what's up?
Thank you, Swimmy, Lamb Chop. Love you guys.
I just wanted to mention, obviously, you've seen what Tucker has talked about today, completely unhinged. And a lot of
How
people
dare you
online,
criticize Islam?
how dare I? And a lot of people are saying,
Actually,
they should.
let's go ahead and play that real quick just for those. I'm sure most people seen it, but I'm sure there's one or two that hasn't seen it. So let me throw that up on the screen real quick because it is funny. His face when he like takes his glasses off and looks at the camera, he looks so mad. Like he looks like Trump stepped on his dog.
A bit performative, but yes.
For sure. For sure. Definitely Definitely performative. All right, you guys, check this out. Oh, fuck off, Max Blumenthal, you fucking. This is what Oh Wow is talking about right here. I posted it over here. This is the how dare you how dare you mock Islam, you Islamophobe.
Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning?
Wait,
Oh my God,
that's
they're
the
all
beginning?
so
Who do you think
fucking
you
up in
are?
arms about this.
You're
You're
fucking
tweeting out the
tweet.
F word on Easter morning? You'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah.
I just want to say,
All of them.
I thought it was
All of
funny.
their tweets about it. Have you seen all their tweets about like, oh my God, Marjorie Taylor Greene and this one and that one? Like, he's not a Christian. Any Christian that's supporting him is not a Christian. Like, it's insane.
I thought it was funny. I don't get it. What's wrong with saying praise be to Allah? Is that a bad thing? I don't get it. It's just saying, look at his face. Look at Tucker's face. Tucker can
Is
make
this
up
the first time
conspiracies.
he's calling out Trump
No, definitely
Yeah.
not.
publicly?
Nah.
But
No?
directly though, usually he
Directly,
uses other
yeah.
people. This was the most direct one.
Yeah, I guess that's probably kind of true. But yeah, it's just like, dude, look at his face. You can make up lies about some conspiracy with Chabad and starting a war so that way they can build the third temple, which, I mean, pretty base. But anyways, you can do all that with religions, but you can't criticize. Well, not even criticize. He trolled, I guess would be a better word. Mock? Yeah, like that's what he says, right? Let me hold on. Yeah, mock. You can't mock Islam though, because God forbid somebody mocks a religion of pedophilia.
So obviously you're mocking the religion of
Obviously.
Iran. Okay. If you seek a religious war, that's a good idea. But by the way, no decent person.
Hey Tucker, why don't you tell us why that would lead to a religious war? Why don't you tell us that? Why don't you tell us why saying praise be to Allah, even in a trolling way, would lead to a religious war? Can you explain what you meant by that, Tucker? What do you mean? If people say sarcastically, I don't know, what's the equivalent? Christ is king, I guess. I guess that's the closest equivalent to a Christian saying. Are they going to get violent over that? I mean, I don't think Christians are like that. If you were to sarcastically say Baruch Hashem, are Jews going to start? Well, there's only like 5 Jews in the whole world, so probably couldn't anyways. But like, what did you mean by that, Tucker?
Mocks other people's religions. You may have a problem with the theology. Presumably you do if it's not your religion, and you can explain what that is. But to mock other people's faith is to mock the idea of faith itself. And we should never mock that. Because at its
All faiths? Just every single one? Just want to make sure we're not being hypocritical right now.
core is the acknowledgement that we are not in charge of the universe. We did not build it. We won't be here at the end of it. We can destroy life. We cannot create it because we are not God.
Right, you can just say you hate Christian Zionists more than anyone, right? Remember when you said that, Tucker, and then the only reason you apologized because you got backlash? Yeah, you can hate a people, even if it's fellow Christians. That's okay, but say praise be to Allah, and whew, Tucker's wrath.
The message of all faith
She doth
at the biggest
protest.
picture level is the message in our Bible, which is you are not God. And only if you think you are do you talk this way.
Hold on.
Which is
It's a pretty new looking Bible there. Looks like the binds hasn't even been opened before, but maybe once or twice. I don't know. How many times you guys think if I got into a debate about theology, you think Tucker has read anything past, I don't know, Genesis 15?
you are not God. And only if you think you are do you talk this way. But it's not just mockery of Islam. And no president should mock Islam. That's not your job. This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective. We are not a theocracy. And God willing, we never will be, because theocracies corrupt the religion.
I agree
No,
with you on that.
this is a mockery not just of
What are you
Islam,
talking
it's a
about?
mockery of Christianity.
Oh, it's a mockery
To send
of
out a
Christianity
tweet
now.
with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying pray.
Right, you can only say the F word the day after Easter. Don't you guys get it? Right? You're a Christian as long as you say the F word, but not on Easter morning. If it's Easter morning, that's when Jesus will be upset with you. Yeah, that makes sense, Tucker. And obviously I'm saying that because Tucker has literally cursed before.
Ashley's right. He's quite judgmental for someone who's so perfect.
Hey, well, you know what? To be fair, judgment is not something that's anti-Christian. It has to be righteous judgment. But I agree, this is not righteous judgment.
Praise be to Allah without explaining any of it. You are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is
What?
evil. That is an
that what he
intentional
did?
desecration of beauty and truth, which is
You
Oh,
want
now he's evil.
you want more
Okay.
proof of the horseshoe theory? It's this right here. Every single woke right type video, and I'm not saying woke right person. Luna. All right, go. I'm not saying woke right person, right? I'm talking about when they make like a woke right type video. If you didn't know this was Tucker Carlson, if I read for you the transcript of this video, you could not tell really, like maybe because it's talking about religion, you'd be like, it sounds like a woke right person, but really the way they speak, the words that they use, it's the same thing as the left. It's like a leftist style argument. Can you please, what is it that you're doing? There you go. It's leftist style arguments. Anyways, here's Tucker. I haven't even actually heard this, but supposedly let's listen
He
to it.
need to say, look, I'm a bigot, okay? I'm a bigot. I don't like Islamic extremists. Like, if you are really heavily into Islam, I'm sorry, I don't care for you that much. And I don't care what that sounds like. You can call me a racist. You can come whatever the fuck you want.
And at this juncture, you could
Whoa, Tucker. This was 20 years ago. Whoa, not only did he say the F word. Wait,
But he mocked Islam.
It was March 21st, 2006. Let's just make sure that wasn't any Christian holiday, because then it's okay if he said the F word, right?
say that and not catch a lot of shit for
You
it.
certainly could. I'd vote for you if you said that. He need to say, look, I'm a bigot, okay? I'm a bigot.
That's funny. I'd vote for you if you said that. All right, anyways, oh wow. Now that we all have context, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say was, I mean, the whole thing is phony and performative. I mean, even like you said, that Bible with a big cross on it. Like, I've seen a lot of Bibles, and I mean, you got to go and find one that looks like that.
Right. Like
And-
this is my
right.
Bible.
Yes, exactly. And so,
It's basic.
it's all most of them look like that. But the thing that I wanted to mention is, other than the fact that he's phony and liar and performative, and he's hated Trump forever because we have his text saying that, we know that. My point is this: a lot of people are saying online, "Oh, well, his son works for J.D. Vance. They should fire his son." Here's my point: forget firing his son. If Tucker Carlson really believes that Trump's a demon, antichrist, bought by Israel, blah blah blah, whatever all this nonsense that he believes, shouldn't he want to pull his son out of that demon pit? And he should say, at minimum, my son is over 18. I've informed him that I want him to leave, but he's his own man and can do whatever he wants. But
a
the
good point.
fact that
That's a
he
good point.
doesn't even but the fact that he doesn't even mention it to his viewers, because they probably don't know it, he hides it. If you believed your son was working for an antichrist neo-Nazi, you would do everything in your power to get him another job, and I'm sure Tucker could find another friend to get him another job somewhere else. But he's not, and that's why he's a liar, and that's why he's a hypocrite. Just that alone. He shouldn't. The son doesn't need to be fired. Tucker needs to pull his son out of the demon pit. That's all I'm saying.
No, actually, I have nothing to add to that. That's actually a very good point. I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I want to say.
I just love these pictures in the comment section. Thanks, so I appreciate you.
guys.
Yeah, no, Tucker's losing all credibility because this is the BRICS comment section too. This is an anti-Israel, so their audience is going to be mostly anti-Israel, and the comment sections is they're just dragging Tucker.
It's
'Cause you gotta
really
say there's-
interesting.
Go ahead.
His selective outrage, like he just gets outraged at very specific things, and other things are like, oh, whatever.
Right. I just think it's pretty funny because it's like the thing is the whole performative outrage for Islam is never going to work. And I'll tell you why. Because you're definitely not going to get the pro-Israel people on your back or on your side. But you're also not even going to get some anti-Israel people on your side. Because guess what? They're not really fans of Islam either, Tucker. And because you're a conservative, the left isn't really watching you. So like the leftists that like suck Islam's schmeckle, you know, like that's not really like who are you appealing to? Your only audience at very best is people who, yeah, they're anti-Semitic or anti-Israel, but they're also not fans of Islam. So I don't really know who you're appealing to. This one's great. I love this one. I'm not Muslim, I'm Persian. Dude, if I saw the sign in a local bakery, I'd support the shit out of this bakery. I'd be like, just because I'd feel bad, because I'd get it. This guy's probably like, gosh, I'm getting all this fucking hate, and it's like, I'm fucking Persian, dude. You know what? I remember after 9/11, I lived in an area that had, well, it wasn't super close, but there was a neighborhood somewhat close of a bunch of Sikhs. You guys should all know who Sikhs are, but they got a lot of hate because everyone just assumed that they were Muslims, and they were like, I felt bad for them. It's like, dude, they're not fucking Muslims. Yeah, pretty crazy. All right.
Someone wants to know if you take Discord calls.
Yeah, I do normally. Just give me a second. I'll open up Discord right now. To the Discord. Oh my god, there's 3 people waiting. All right. Gotta make this quick. All right. I'm in. Let's start with Ascended. Ascended, hello.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Okay, I have 2 things for you. The first one is, why do I hear so many Muslims attributes the problem with the Jews on Epstein? And if generally, based on Islam, Epstein didn't do much wrong.
Yeah, because people are using it as a political tool and not because of actual real outrage. It's selective. So that way they can criticize Jews or Israel or whatever.
Yeah, but what did he really do wrong, speaking from an Islamist point of view? Like, if he slept with minors, or he trafficked minors, or he blackmailed people, is that really wrong based on Islam?
I mean, you have to understand, a lot of Muslims do not follow Islam or the Prophet Muhammad very closely. So I get what you're trying to say, but I think a lot of Muslims would say that it's not okay.
Okay. The second thing, I wanted to know if were you aware that before the existence of Israel, and I guess in 48s, 50s, 60s, during the Cold War, there was a huge competition over relationships with Israel between the 2 superpowers, which were the US and Russia at the time, and they both were fighting to be in relationship with Israel.
Yes, I did know that.
Okay. And then I heard I don't know if you heard about it, but I heard in the past, I guess, 2 decades, China was actually making moves to try and get into those relationships with Israel in case US and I guess Israel will have a fracture, China can come in. I don't know if you ever heard about that one.
Nope.
So my question is, if assuming, well, it's not really a question, but it's more, I don't know, a thought. If, I guess, let's say there was a fraction between the United States, like let's say AOC came in power and became the president for some reason, and then she would be like, no Israel anymore, even though if you notice now, she's not really talking about Israel because I guess she's getting money from them, maybe. But let's say she did decide not to support Israel anymore. I wonder if Russia or China would make a move to come in to replace the United States.
Yep, they would.
And then we know that even historically wise, we know that US stopped Israel from doing things, especially advancing and expanding after Israel won a war. Like, for example, when it happened in Egypt, because Russia threatened the US that they might use nuclears and became super tense. I believe it was in 73. So I wonder if even now it's like if you listen to Piers Morgan, it's one of his narratives that Israel is bluffing about, like during the Obama administration and Biden administration, that they would attack just to get them in, and they never attacked. But I wonder if it was the U.S. who actually put the brakes on Israel during those times to be like, no, you can attack. And
Yes,
Israel
it
didn't
was.
attack because-
Literally, it was.
Okay, so if we take in this point that it was, and Israel, it makes Israel loyal to United States, right? Because Israel listened to United States. My question is, since you're pretty knowledgeable, do you know of any countries that has a stronger bond and relationship alliance-wise than Israel and the United States?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what realm you're gonna what realm you're looking at. If you're looking at like weaponry sales and everything, there's countries that we have more of an alliance with than with Israel. You can just Google it, honestly, if you want to know more. I mean, I'm trying to I can talk about this for days, but I need to get through to other guests. But if it's just like if you're just looking for like general like allyship, just pick a lane of what you're looking at, whether it's natural resources, weaponry sales, aid, etc., and just Google around. You'll be able to find Japan and America have a huge alliance with trade.
No, it doesn't have to
Obviously,
be America.
Canada and Mexico with America.
You
I
think
know it doesn't
Canada
have.
Mexico has a stronger bond than Israel and the United States?
It's not what I said. I
No,
was
he's
saying.
asking you, I think.
I know what
It
he's
doesn't need
asking.
to be America.
I understand that, but America is obviously going to have the strongest alliances because we are going, when you look at alliances, you look at stuff like money, and that's going to be in the corner of America. I'm not saying Canada and Mexico. I'm saying when it comes to trade, that Canada and Mexico with the United States has a lot of trade because of our landlocks, or our land borders, excuse me.
True, but we know that United States, like for example, the countries they put tariffs on, especially, well, speaking of Trump, and they did it because countries screwed them because whatever reasons it was. But we know Israel never screwed in terms of trade United States, and we know they always gave more than they should have in terms of like trade-wise, economy-wise. They paid more than they should have. So
okay, I
even
don't agree.
trade-wise,
I don't agree with that at all. But
okay,
sure.
isn't
What's
that one of
is
the
there a
reasons
question here? I'm just a little confused here.
well, the question originally was, is there a stronger bond between between any two countries than Israel and the United States? That was the original question.
I think it just depends on what avenue you're looking at. I think in some cases, no, not at all. In some cases, yeah, for sure. Again, if you just
Okay.
Google around, you'll be able to find some of this information.
Well, I was trying to get it from your knowledge. Maybe you know
Yeah,
something.
I think I think my answer would be, as much as I love the Israeli-American alliance, I'm not going to say it's 100% like, oh yeah, there's no better alliance. Everything is perfect and gold, and there's nothing better. It just depends on the. Again, it could be talked about for days. It just depends on what aisle of the
Okay,
lane
so
you're looking at.
you pick any lane and tell me a better relationship between U.S. and who than U.S. and Israel. Like that, I guess you don't have to.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
just saying,
Like I said,
well,
economic.
okay, and you think economically U.S. has a better relationship with Canada and Mexico than Israel?
Yes, definitely. Japan, South Korea.
Mm.
It's not a
Okay.
slight on Israel. I think for its size, Israel definitely packs a punch and gives a lot, but It's not a slight. It's just factual. Like if you just look at like the literal statistics.
I will look it up. I didn't know it, so okay, cool.
For sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, sorry, watching your stream. Yeah, I guess I was just watching it and it seemed like you were making like somebody was talking about like the relationship between Israel being strong. And I think you put out like a short where it's like you're really criticizing our relationship with France. And at the end of that short you like insinuated that like Muslims are increasing at a rate. And I can't agree with your characterization of the relationship with France because we're still in their airspace. I think that's a lie, and
It's not a lie. They stopped us from using their airspace for transportation purposes. I didn't say they kicked
true
us
at all.
out of their airspace. I said that specifically for transportation. This is they released a statement. What do you mean?
That's not true at all. Like France has denied
Okay.
that. There's U.S. planes leaving here right now, so that's like
For
categorically false.
transportation of weapons?
Yeah, like this establishes
Okay, let's look it
a
up. You're
bridge
saying
of-
you're saying American planes are transporting weapons right now in France airspace?
they're assisting. Yeah,
Let's see. France
I
refused
mean, if
use of its
you were to
airspace
look
to
up- if you were
transfer.
to
Yeah,
look
I
up-
just looked it up. France refused use of its airspace to transfer U.S. weapons for Iran war. This is from 6 days ago. France did not allow to use its airspace to transport American weapons to be used in the war against Iran. A Western diplomat, two sources familiar with the matter. This is Reuters. They were told on Tuesday, so a little less than a week ago.
So France has denied it, and what if anything, they're flying south of the nation. So, like we've established a bridge of refueling plans to logistically supply to
Here's
the Middle
another
East.
one. Spain, France, and Italy have restricted military movements linked to the Iran war. This is a separate source. Let's see. There's another source. Europe says no to USA. Specifically, it's saying France, Italy, and Spain in the article. RFI, France denies blocking. Oh, here we go. Let's read this one. This is, I think, what you're talking about. Wait, real quick. You said that they're transporting weaponry right now in France?
I can't speak to that, but I know.
Wait,
that,
what do you mean
like,
you can't
we've
speak to
already
that? You said
established-
yes to that 5 minutes ago.
No, I said they're assisting for sure. Because
No, I asked the same question about 5 minutes. Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
I asked 5 minutes
it's
ago,
intentionally
are they transporting weapons? And you said yes.
No, I said assisting.
No, you said yes to my question. I said, are they transporting weapons in their airspace right now? And you said yes.
No, I said assisting. That's a lie. I said assisting.
You didn't. But,
you
all right.
understand how like the SkyTrain works, though, right? So it's like
I'm not
we're
really
flying
sure what
things
you mean
in
by
the-
assisting. You're saying they're assisting, helping us.
assisting.
Yeah, what do you mean? They're helping us fly the planes? What does that mean?
What? So we're using their air bases to launch fuelers. So
That's
right?
not what I'm
So
asking. I
can pick a
asked you.
plane-
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you're
Just hold on
asking
one
me to
sec.
explain
Just
my
hold on.
definition.
Just stop talking.
We're not really sure. So, that's like
For transportation of weapons?
Yeah, like this
Okay, let's look
establishes
it
a
up. You're
bridge
saying
of-
Did you hear that? Yeah?
I said they're assisting. I believe I said.
I
that
just
after.
fucking played it, dude.
What I'm trying to tell you is that there's a logistical supply chain where planes are flying out of France. So the technicality of them not.
Literally just fucking played it. You're gonna gaslight me? Holy fucking shit. Just say you made a mistake. Jesus Christ. Alright, and go ahead. Ann, are you there? Hello?
Thank you, Haley, for the galaxies. You're awesome.
Hello? 1, 2, 3.
I said there's this thing.
Let's go to Swervo. I'll get back to those that are requesting in wait, why is it not letting me? There we go. In TikTok, just give me a second.
Keep liking the live, everyone.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yes, pleasure to meet you. I just had a couple questions mainly about religion, if that was okay.
Sure.
I was wondering what made you not believe in Jesus? I'm not a Christian or really even religious. I'm just kind of looking into religion and was curious. I've seen you kind of go over it with a couple people, but they typically don't answer questions for some reason.
Sure. Well, there's multiple things. So for me personally, and I want to make sure it's clear, I love Christians and I want Christians to continue being Christians and going to church, and they are the best amongst us. They're 2.5 billion strong, and they are the leader. They lead in charity work, volunteer work, and just making the world a better place. That being said, me personally, Luna, babe, can you grab her?
She's gonna do the same thing on the other side, but
I don't
okay.
know, just figure, I don't know. She seems bored in here.
W. Haley, you're awesome.
Jesus Christ.
One moment.
Thank you, Haley. And talk. Oh yeah, so for me personally, what I believe from a complete, like, just looking at it objectively point of view, with how I consider, so I'm a cradle Catholic. I left the church relatively early on in my life, but I still consider myself Christian. When it comes to the New Testament, I see coincidentally a lot of, not even going to say echoing, well, maybe echoing is the right word, echoing of the Old Testament into the New Testament, as if someone was highly inspired by the Old Testament to write in the New Testament. And I'm not talking about like, well, yeah, of course it connects because there's like revelations being fulfilled. No. I'm talking about as if somebody like kind of took a story, changed a couple things, and just rewrote it. I believe that Christianity, and again, I get it. I know I have a lot of Christian followers. I'm not saying this to offend. This is just my objective point of view. I believe that Christianity became more of Paul's religion than it did Jesus's religion. I find some things to not make a lot of sense per se. One, and I get it. I know that Christianity just says it'll happen during the second coming, but for me, it makes sense if there is a Moshiach, Messiah, and if we understand it correctly. And I'm not even saying necessarily Jews have it right, by the way. I'm just saying, generally speaking, if it will be a man, one lifetime, it doesn't make a lot of sense that not all of the things were fulfilled, but the most important things weren't even fulfilled. Again, I know what Christians say. I was Christian most of my life. Oh yeah, it's going to happen in the second coming. And hey, that might be true. I might be wrong, and I'm willing to accept that, and I guess the consequences that come with it. Although, I guess the consequences would be pretty bad, but I'm willing to accept that. But things don't really make a lot of sense. One, nowhere in the Old Testament, nowhere does it say anything about an anointed one to come, fulfill some of the requirements, die, raise back up, and then come back later and then fulfill all the rest of the requirements. Could it be that that's the case anyway? Sure, but nowhere in the Old Testament does it say that anywhere, and that'd be quite the thing to leave out. Like when you look at like Ezekiel and you look at the prophecies, etc., like when you look at all this stuff, that's quite the thing to leave out, dude. But hey, like I said, I could be wrong. Furthermore, what I find a little interesting is here's my belief about religion as someone who's not Jewish, who does not really believe in rabbinical Judaism, and I see faults in it. I'm not Christian anymore. I see faults in it. I'm obviously not Muslim. I see a lot of faults in it. If I were to guess, my thought is that the original is either correct or all religions are wrong. Because what I see a lot in the New Testament and definitely in the Quran, I find it to be quite the convenience for things to come later when the Old Testament, the Torah, let's just call it the original for lack of better terms. When that comes about, it isn't filled with niceties. It isn't filled with we're perfect. It isn't. In fact, it's filled with the opposite. We've messed up. We messed up. We messed up. We messed up. We're not perfect. And by the way, you know, there's no like, you're not going to burn in hell for all of eternity. You don't even need to be a part of this. You just need to follow the 7 Noahide laws. That makes sense to me. It's quite convenient for something to come hundreds of years later or thousands of years later, all the way to like the Book of Mormon even. I think it's quite the convenience that it's like, oh, by the way, we're actually the chosen ones. And by chosen, we're actually like what we accuse Jews of chosen, right? We're actually doing that. But we're still going to continue to accuse Jews as if it's a bad thing to call yourself the chosen ones. But we're actually the chosen ones. And if you don't come over here, you're going to burn in hell. You're going to burn in Jahannam. And by the way, we're perfect, right? Not we as in Christians or we as in Muslims. No, of course not. They're people. They're not perfect. I'm just talking about the religion. It's very much filled with, like, it's great. Now, that makes a lot more sense for Christianity than Islam, because at least with Christianity, it's God, right? They believe Jesus is God. So I guess that kind of makes sense, right? You know, if he is God, I guess he would be very close to perfect or perfect, right? So I'll give Christianity a little bit of a coin there, where with Islam, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, why is this guy... like, he's just praised throughout the whole thing, and he's just a man. Anyways, so how do I keep going with this? In the Torah and the Old Testament, if you will, which Christians believe in, the God is able... or sorry, let me rephrase this. In the New Testament, God, Jesus, right? What they consider God, Jesus, he's able to predict all of these things to the T, right? He didn't say necessarily it would be Judas, but he would be betrayed. He tells Peter, you will deny me 3 times. Like, a lot of stuff. If anyone's read the New Testament, they know what I'm talking about. It's very pinpoint. And that makes sense, by the way, because he's God. Okay? How come in the Old Testament, God didn't just tell us... not only did they not tell us that, hey, Jews are not only going to deny the Messiah, right? But they're actually going to, like, go the opposite way. They're going to continue to deny him for thousands of years. They're going to go completely the opposite direction. Some Christians, again, I'm not speaking to probably the Christians that follow me. Obviously, I'm speaking to a kind of a darker corner of Christianity right now. They go like, you're Satan. You're evil. It's like, you not only did you deny the Messiah, you went like the whole opposite direction. How is it that God in the New Testament is able to tell us individuals that are going to deny him 3 times, they're going to betray me, you will be persecuted after me because no student is higher than their master, so if they persecute me, they're going to persecute you. He knows all that, but in the Old Testament, he couldn't say, hey, by the way, these are the chosen people, but they're going to... I know I said for all of eternity, your covenant will exist for all eternity until the sun and the stars diminish. But by the way, in this verse right here, it says you guys are all going to fuck up. And you guys are also going to become like Satan and all this stuff. Like, again, obviously I'm not speaking to the Christians that probably follow me. They don't believe that. Here's why I bring up the Christians that follow me. If Christianity is correct, it makes the most sense to me that evangelicals make the most sense. And before any Christian goes, oh, that didn't come until like the 1800s, it has to be that. Because for me, I'm willing to admit that Christianity is probably correct in some ways, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm looking at it objectively. I've given you my reasons. I have more, but generally I've given you my reasons. That's an objective point of view, but I'm not perfect. I'm not infallible. I can definitely be incorrect. But if Christianity is correct, evangelicals make the most sense to me. Because again, for the last reason I just give, why did God, who's able to bridge all these things and puts it in verses and tells us, but he just like forgets to tell us about how the Jews are going to like screw all of that up. And again, not just screw it up like, oh, they mess up like they did in the Old Testament, but they fix themselves and they kind of come back into God. No. Mess up and go like the complete opposite direction and never fix themselves. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, you know? It seems a little, I don't know, like, did God, like, was he like a different God in the Old Testament? I don't get it. Like, what happened there? He really, really messed up there. So I hope that kind of makes a little sense. Sorry for the rant.
No, thank you, actually. Just to clarify, I understand, are you saying you don't believe he was a prophet in that case, or it's more of you just don't know?
Well, the only people that think he was just a prophet are Muslims, and I think you know I'm not a Muslim.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Last question. This is like not really too long of one. I recently got a Tanakh because I did want to read their the Torah and basically everything they believe.
Sure.
I wanted to move over to a Talmud afterwards. Was there one? I heard you kind of talk about the Babylonian and Jerusalem one. Is there one you would recommend?
You want to read the Talmud?
Once I was done with the Tanakh, yes.
You're not gonna. First off, you don't read the Talmud; you study it, and I hope you understand it'll take you a dozen years or more. Now, if you're just trying to read the words, you can probably knock it out in maybe 4 years, give or take, assuming you kind of somewhat take some breaks, right? But you don't read it; you study it. So if you want to do that, well, I would recommend doing both. But again, these are things that I know rabbis that are in their 60s that are still studying it, right? Like it's and they've been studying it since they were in what's it called, yeshiva, right? As a child or teenager, you know what I mean? Like
read it, but do you imagine how long it must take to like understand
right, yeah.
everything?
If you're just trying to read the words and like speed through it, yeah, maybe you'll be able to do that in a few years or so. But like if you're trying to actually understand it, even moderately understand it, dude, it's gonna take you. Like this is not a little pet side project that you can do. But that being said, yeah, I would recommend both. And then I would recommend to follow along with Rambam's commentary. Rashi's, like, you know, it's again, that's why it's studying. Like with the Bible, you really can pick it up. I'm not saying you don't study it. Of course you do, because you want to be able to look. Maybe you have some commentary to help you, but you read it, right? The Talmud, you have like the Torah with you, and then you have the rabbinical arguments with the Mishnah and the Gemara, and then you have Rambam's commentary and like Rashi's, and I'm sure there's more. I'm not Jewish and I'm not an expert in this, so I'm sure I'm missing stuff, but I've seen them. I've been to the Western world where they're studying some of this stuff. I've seen them in yeshiva. Like it's very, very, very complex. That's why I find it funny when people on my live, they go, have you read the Talmud? And it's like, okay, like give me a break.
Yeah, so I didn't know it was that long. I'm not gonna lie. I just looked it up. I did not know it was that long.
It's 72 volumes, I think.
But you would recommend both of them, like in any order? Or?
I'm just saying, if you were
Or at
going
least, like-
to pick why only pick one? I guess start with the Babylonian.
Okay.
Like if
Okay,
you're gonna,
that
but
was
like
all my questions.
why miss one? You know. But hey, good luck,
Okay,
man.
thank you.
Maybe if you ever do it, call me up in 10, 20 years.
Quite
and
the
let me-
feat. I mean,
Tell me,
it's not even-
let me know what you think about it.
I've never
I'll give you
tried.
an update. But have a great rest of your day.
You too, brother. Have a good one. Real quick, I've been missing some of these super chats.
Oh,
Let
he
me get to
couldn't hear
these.
me, could he? Sorry.
Oh no, yeah, he couldn't. Thank you. What's your name here? There we go. Raggedy Man. Tucker should get on his prayer rug. Blue Moon. Wrong. He is speaking to anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic people. All will convert to Islam if it means no Israel or no Jews. He knows what he is doing. No, I don't agree. People who are legitimately like Christian that like to listen to Tucker, they're not converting to Islam. There might be some that listen to Tucker that don't care so much about religion that maybe they'll find something in Islam, but the people that are Christians are not, yeah, they're not going to convert to Islam just because, let's say there's a Christian that is anti-Semitic. No, I don't agree with that. Vanillin Lover. Do you think the hate Ukraine is getting is because of the left embracing them and the right is being contrarian? As a Ukrainian American, it confuses me. Ukraine is actually helping USA more than NATO against Iran. You know what? I'll give you that. That's you're right about that. Trust me, I've not given the most love to Ukraine. I don't hate Ukraine. I support Ukraine 100%, and I hope they kick the shit out of Russia. But just maybe partially out of ignorance, partially out of listening too much to media. I will say, since the Iran war started, Ukraine has been stepping up with offers, and that's I gotta say, we as Americans should look to that and appreciate that, because they're obviously not going through, I think 20% right now of their country is occupied by Russia. So I'll give you that. That's true. Cav Kazip, thanks for the super chat. Full Talmud is 16,000 pages. Jesus. And by the way, when he says pages, you guys, we're not talking about like normal pages, like, you know, like this big of pages. These pages are like, I don't know if you've ever seen a Talmud. These are like big pages, and you got like text in the middle, and then you have it that wraps around and like wraps around the other side. It's crazy. I have thought also, like that guy, before I also knew how big the Talmud was, like, yeah, maybe I'll read it so that way I can debunk some of these anti-Semites. It's boring. It's very boring. You want to know how boring the Talmud is? The same 5 to 10 sentences come up between these anti-Semites. About 5 to 10. Maybe up to 15, okay? The same exact, oh, Jesus is burning in hell, 3 years in one day, blah, 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 blah. Same exact ones. If in a 16,000 page, 72 volume books, if all you can find is these same to 5 to 10 verses, let's double it. Let's say they've missed some, right? Let's triple it. Let's call it 50. Let's say there's 50, sentences, right? They haven't found it all yet. They're working through it, right? If that's what you can find in 16,000 pages, again, big pages, big pages, probably because it's 99% boring. I'm just gonna be real. I could never be a rabbi. And what's up? 50, sentences, right? They haven't found it all yet. And you got some 16,000 pages. Again, you got big pages. I don't even know what to call it. Echo. You have an echo. All right, let's get to TikTok now. All right, you guys, Discord. I'm logging off Discord for now. There's people waiting on TikTok.
TikTok.
Sammy, what's up?
Hey, what's doing, Nick? First of all, very appreciative for all the work you do. I just wanted to get into a little bit, like just like an interesting question, like regarding religion, Christianity. It seems pretty clear that a large subset of Christians are, which I love Christians as well, but it seems like a lot of them do believe in supersessionism, which is it's probably fine, but it seems like, especially the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens, and you might have heard of this commentary, like Tovia Singer, very interesting thing he says that about Candace's husband, how he's pretty much part of the faction that doesn't take on the Nostra Aetate, or however you pronounce that, by Pope Pius, that says we don't have to blame the Jews for deicide or whatever. So do you think that maybe this is growing, and this competitive nature, like against, like saying like, oh, wait a second, how could it be that we're replacing the Jews or whatever, and how could it be that the Jews are rejected by God if, they're succeeding, they're flourishing, Israel is one of the top countries, economies in the world. So what do you think about that? And do you think that Noahidism should be pushed more?
Well, obviously as a Noahide, I'm biased, so of course I think Noahidism should be pushed more. But yeah, that goes into what I was saying earlier with that guy about the reason I don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God or the Messiah personally. Again, objectively, no hard feelings. But to add on to it, because you bring up another good point, and Christians have to admit this, some of the, not all of them, some of the earliest patriarchs are wrong. Some of the earliest patriarchs very clearly implied, maybe not directly said, but very clearly imply that Jews would never control Jerusalem ever again because of their denial of the Messiah. And that's okay. I don't know why some Christians kind of take offense. It's mostly Catholics. They're like, no, you can't say that about the early. Sure you can. They're not, you shouldn't deify them. They're not prophets. They're not God. They're not, it's not like we're saying Jesus said it. So it's like, you shouldn't deify them just because they're older. But anyways, they very clearly implied Jews would never control Jerusalem ever again. And by the way, a lot of these people that bought into this are the same ones that tried really hard to split Jerusalem, keep it split, because they were trying to force this, what they believed to be true, to be factual, right? They tried to force it into reality. And then when 6-Day War happened and Jews reclaimed Jerusalem, it kind of messed with I remember reading about a lot of the early reports during the time of 6. Obviously, I wasn't alive, but reading the reports of the time, it kind of sent a little bit of a schism, because people were kind of like, wait a minute, they're not supposed to control Jerusalem again. Some of our early patriarchs said this. And so that's why I said, if Christianity is right, see, here's my thought. Like I said before, if one of the Abrahamic religions is right, it's the original, or none of them are right to me. However, if I am wrong, it's definitely never going to be Islam. Islam, there's way too many. Like, with Christianity, I just don't think it's fully right, and I find it to be more of Paul's religion than Jesus's. But I totally could be wrong about that. I could be reading things wrong. I'm also not an expert. I could be missing some verses. I admit that 100%. With Islam, there's just way too many contradictions. It just can't be right. But if Christianity is correct, like you're bringing up right now, it's got to be evangelicals, because their only argument against evangelicals, you hear it all the time, especially with Orthodox and Catholics. They say it all the time. Wow, that ideology didn't come until like the 17 to 1800s. Okay, but that's not an argument for why it's wrong, right? First off, that's when it became popularized, but sure, but that's not an argument for why it's wrong. Just because something's older doesn't necessarily make it correct, right? It's because evangelicals, they're pulling from at least their interpretation of Jesus's words, right? You're pulling from your interpretation of early patriarchs who are not God, they're not prophets, right? And again, I'm not saying one's right or the other. I'm just saying make your case on why it's wrong. Don't just say, oh, well, it's younger, so therefore it's wrong. Like you said, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? That, hey, Jews, they, again, not just rejected the Messiah, but they went far right with it, if you will. They went the opposite direction, but now they're like flourishing and like, just, I don't get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
That's how I see it, Nick. I think, on the contrary, Christianity was and is probably the reason monotheism spread as fast as it did, I think.
Oh yeah,
I think
absolutely.
without Christianity, the word of the Jewish people would not be out there.
Well, so real quick, sorry, you guys are bringing up a lot of good points. I got to add to it.
Hold on. Hi, Renzi. I love you.
It says this in the book of Romans, the book of Romans with Paul. Paul says, whatever. I'm going to paraphrase him. I'm pretty sure I'm getting it right. Paul says that essentially the Jews, Israel, and he's talking about ethnic Israel. It's very clear he's talking about ethnic Israel, not spiritual. Said that they are enemies to the Gospels for your sake. And a lot of scholars and Christians, especially evangelical side, very clearly, I mean, it's clear to me, what he's saying is that if the Jews were to have accepted Jesus, it's very, very likely, not even possible, likely, that the word wouldn't have really spread to the Gentiles. It would have just been another Jew thing. No offense.
Right. That was exactly my point. It's that Christianity, even though, the Paul part I can question, I have a lot of questions about, I don't think its intention when it started and how it started with Jesus and his followers, I don't think it was intended to turn into what it did. So I believe that part of it.
I agree. I agree with that. But yeah, like it's if they accepted Jesus, it would have just been another just kind of Jewish thing. And it's very like, because Paul says first to the Jews, then to the Greeks, right? Some of the newer translations says then to the Gentiles, but same thing, right? And it's true because Jews have always been kind of a closed off, if you will, belief, religion, tribe. And so here it is, Romans, right? It's very, very clear. Hold on, I think it's in. That is, but the people of Israel pursue the law, the righteousness, and go. Why not? Because they're.
You remember the verse? God.
Yeah, here it is.
Don't you know his brain's like a fucking computer?
He knows the verses of the Quran, the Torah, the Bible. Like
he's crazy.
Not. All right, don't hype me up too much. Not all of them. It's just some.
Computer brain.
For new, don't you know what Scripture says in the passage about Elijah and you killed your prophets and yeah. So chapter 11 is talking about how God did not reject his people, and here it is. I do not want you to be ignorant of this mystery, brothers and sisters. So for those that don't know, this is Paul that wrote this. So that you may not be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. I just read that one more time. A lot of people kind of skip past this, especially those that believe in supersessionism or replacement theology. They skip past this. This is Paul saying this. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. A lot of them will say, oh, it says that God is hardening the hearts of the Jews. That's why they continue to mess up today and they don't accept the Messiah. But they skip the part where it says until the full number of Gentiles has come in. And in this way, all Israel will be saved. As it is written, the deliverer will come from Zion. He will turn godlessness away from Jacob. And this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. As far as the gospel is concerned, they are enemies for your sake. But as far as election is concerned, they are loved on account of the patriarchs. For God's gifts and his call are irrevocable. I don't understand how you can read that and think anything other than what the evangelicals think. And I'm not an evangelical Christian, but I'm just saying if Christianity's right, how is it that they're the ones that are wrong? How can you read that? It's saying that they're enemies to the gospel for your sake, which makes sense because if Jews accepted Jesus and the gospels, guess what? You guys probably wouldn't be Christian. Let's be honest. Christianity spread because of Constantine, spread because of the Roman Empire. If it was just another Jew thing, they probably would have just actually, no, I'm not even saying this hypothetically. We know they would have persecuted them because they did persecute them when it was just a Jewish sect. They did it all the time. And so they would have just persecuted them, and we'd be living today where Jews would just be that little tribe that believes in this guy named Jesus. They believe that's exactly what happened. Actually, I don't even know what would have happened with monotheism. Maybe it would have taken off. Maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe obviously I can't read that butterfly effect, but it says that they are beloved for the sake of the patriarchs. Obviously talking about Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, and then it says for God's gifts and promises are irrevocable. I mean, it's so clear.
Irrevocable. But sure.
Irrevocable.
It's also Islam. Islam didn't just use the Torah and the Tanakh as a stepping stone like Christianity did. They literally reorganized, changed every single thing about the Torah. So that's why I can't look at Islam and see like like they read the Torah and changed the order of the Exodus of everything, and they've
also changed the roles.
They think
of
Jesus'
characters.
mother is Aaron's sister. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, the Quran is just bullshit. The Quran, like I said, with Christianity, I've read the Christian Bible. It's very small. I mean, like when you look at the Bible, like it's like I don't know, like that about that much is the New Testament. Maybe a little bit more actually. Whatever. It's about that much, right? This is just like, I mean, to quote Louis C.K., it's just Jews. Like, for anyone that hasn't seen that Louis C.K. stand-up, it's so funny. He's just like...
It's amazing.
He's like, I was reading the New Testament. By the way, the New Testament is actually only this much. The rest of it is just the Jews. And he's like, he goes, and Abraham lived to 800. Yeah, I bet he fucking did. That shit is so funny. You should definitely watch that.
Louis C.K. makes a lot of Jewish jokes, but it's in a loving fashion. You can tell.
It's funny. It's hilarious. And
we saw
he's-
him live a few months ago,
and then he
it was
goes-
amazing.
And then he's just like, and then God's like, I can't with these fucking Jews anymore. Heart disease starts today. Anyways, where was I going with this? Yeah, so
That guy is crazy.
I've read the the New Testament, and I can totally see how I am wrong. I'm looking at it objectively, and the reasons I gave earlier when the guy said, why do I not believe that Jesus is the Son of God, are just objective truths within me. But I could still read it and be like, they could be right. That they have filled in every hole. Let's assume it is fake. It's not the right religion, and somebody wrote it. If it is, they did a good job at kind of filling in. There's contradictions. I think you can always call it contradictions in honestly any Bible or Quran or whatever. But they've kind of filled it into where it's like, I don't think that's right, but I get it. With the Quran, it's not like, I don't think it's right, but I get it. It's like, no, that's literally not right. Like that is quite literally incorrect. And also, you said this here, but this, like, it's, yeah, I can't do it, honestly.
I also think that there's another aspect to it, if I may, that a lot of people, like when they try to explore religion, like the previous guest that was on, he says, well, I'm not sure about Christianity. I'm not sure about Islam. What made you not choose Christianity? It's like there is this premise, and obviously you wouldn't choose to be Jewish because God, who would choose to be? I don't know if I would choose to be Jewish, even though I am. But
Same.
But people just discount kind of the option. Like, wait a second, it's not okay. Definitely not Judaism. Now it's between Christianity and Islam. I'm not saying people should not be Christians or in any sense, or not even culturally Christians, because heck, even atheists can have different reasons for not wanting to be a religious person.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
So why isn't there this idea like people should know? I'm just going to be a regular moral person who believes in God that created the universe and live a good life.
So I read from this, I don't remember which rabbi it was, but it was very interesting. He said that the Jews accepted the Torah, but the Christians spread the Torah. And I think that's totally true, right? The Torah is known today not because of the Jews, but because of the Christians. So here's how I think of it as someone who's not Jewish, not Christian, not Muslim. I don't particularly agree with all of rabbinical Judaism per se, which is fine because I'm not Jewish. I'm not supposed to necessarily agree with it. Obviously, I don't agree with everything with Christianity. I obviously don't agree with everything with Islam. I think that each one actually is necessary and plays a very important role to make the world what it needs to be for the end times, right? I think that the world would be vastly different without Christianity, and honestly, even without Islam. I think they play a role that Jews by themselves couldn't have necessarily done, specifically because of their small numbers, right? And so, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's how I look at it. I think they play a very important role. I think they're there for a reason. And I know that sounds very nice and rainbows and sunshine, and I hope I'm right, but I think they're there for a reason, which is why, again, the one thing about Judaism that makes a lot more sense versus Christianity and Islam is it makes sense for me that we all kind of play a role, and if you're a good person, then we will see whatever is after. I'm not going to call it heaven. I don't believe in hell. I'm not going to call any of that, but whatever the after is, let's just call it that. Whereas in the other religions, it's like you're going to burn. You're going to be punished for all of eternity. In Islam, they specifically say your skin will be burned off and regrow for all of eternity and continue to be burned off. It's like, okay. I don't particularly want to be part of a religion that needs to use, or God even, that needs to use fear to get me to believe in him. I want to believe in him because I want to be free of coercion. And fear to me is coercion. Again, I could be wrong about that, and I get 99% of the world would disagree with me with that, because 99% of the world is going to be, 99% of the religious world, I should say, is going to believe in some kind of punishment after. Now, to be fair to Christians, there's some denominations that believe more in a purgatory, which is closer to the Jewish thought. So, okay, maybe I'm not talking to them. But regardless, this doesn't really make a
Yeah,
lot of sense
plays
to
a
me,
role.
right? Like, you're the most forgiving God, you love, you're merciful, but if you don't do this the exact way I say it, you're gonna burn in hell. And it's like, Jesus, bro. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
get
make
it.
doesn't make
Definitely
sense to
get it.
me. It really doesn't. And if I'm wrong, well, I guess I'm gonna, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna
So
burn
you're
for all of
so you
eternity.
have a very nuanced position that from an objective standpoint, you think you're saying that Christianity, in a sense, could be the lens in which um, Torah or Judeo-Christian, if you will, ethics can expand throughout the world without having the obligations of all these mitzvot and all these rituals and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Christianity definitely is the one that spread that, regardless if you agree with them or not. And also, when I tell Christians, like, hey, I'm not really Christian, 99% of the time, obviously some of them are hateful, and those are probably the ones that aren't really Christian, but they say they are. 99% of the time, Christians are just like, I'm going to pray for you. I hope you come to Christ, brother. We love you. Christ loves you. And it's like, wow, that's so nice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not, they're not hateful in any way. They're praying for me. And even if I don't agree with them, I know from their point of view, that is something out of love. When I tell Muslims why I disagree with Islam, again, I'm not going to say, there have been some Muslims that act kind of like Christians, and they'll be like, I hope, Allah guides you to the truth. And I think that's very nice when they say that. But most of the time, it's not that.
I've always said that if you question a Christian, you might get a debate. You question a Jew, you'll get like a think piece. If you question a Muslim, you'll get a fatwa. So that's the difference.
Okay, but what do you think is besides let's say pushing Noahidism, or which maybe a tough call. Maybe I don't know how easy that would be. Besides that, what do you think is the cultural antidote to this kind of anti-Israel, Christian-based anti-Israel sentiment? Like from Tucker or from all. What would be the cultural, if you would see an influencer tomorrow?
I don't
a religious one.
I don't particularly
Like,
see Tucker Carlson as a Christian influencer. He knows very, very little. He rarely brings up the Bible, but when he does, you can tell he doesn't know what he's talking about. Or he's like something that, like, right before the interview, he looked up like a couple verses real quickly memorized them so he can bring them up. But if you ask him to expand more on it, or you even challenge it back, it's like he kind of just shuts down, or he changes the topic. As someone who like really understands Christianity, can bring up that specific verse, and then when challenged, they can also expand on it. Tucker's never been able to do that. Candace Owens, same exact thing.
Charlie Kirk could have been considered a
Right,
Christian influencer.
Charlie, if he was
Like
challenged,
Ramsey just said, rest in peace.
right? Charlie's not. He wasn't perfect, but he was also only 31 to be. He wasn't really old. But when he was
knew a lot
challenged
about
on
his
certain
religion.
things, he absolutely could keep going on with the conversation. Tucker, Candace absolutely cannot do that.
True, I agree, but they do. There is a perception that even if they just rattle off a few verses, the perception is, with the millions of views they get, oh, wait a second, maybe what they're saying is right, this and that and the other, and even I would even say Megyn Kelly, a lot of her, and definitely Nick Fuentes for sure, but a lot of their narrative is religion motivated, I would say.
But it's being pushed back on. I mean, there's some priests that push back, Catholic priests that push back on Candace and people like them.
Yeah, they're not. They don't have a lot of influence. You have to understand, like, when you look at even Tucker Carlson now, since Tucker was doing a decent job. When I say decent job, I'm being kind of obviously sarcastic, but what I mean is, even a few months ago, maybe 4 months ago, and before, Tucker was doing a decent job at being able to have some kind of plausible deniability that people like Candace couldn't do, right? Like, he was, I'm just asking questions. I'm just bringing these people on, but I'm not necessarily saying I agree with them. And so obviously, even though everyone who was pro-Israel, especially if you're Jewish, you could totally see through every dog whistle, but it was hard to explain it to people that were like trying to defend him, right? Like, no, he didn't say that. And yeah, maybe he went easy on this interview. Like, it was hard to explain, like, these are dog whistles. You kind of sounded like a Jew screaming anti-Semitism for no reason, right? But then he really started to shift. These past few months, especially, he's no longer doing this plausible deniability stuff. Like, Chabad is starting this war to build a third temple, and Trump, how dare you criticize Islam? I feel comfortable in the seat of Islam. People are kind of like, oh, It's kind of since that's happened, look at his comment section. His comment section before was people filled with just like agreeing with him. You look now and you filter it by top comments, it's the opposite now. A lot of the time, he still gets the same amount of views, maybe even more actually, but it's his influence has shifted. Now it's just people, don't get me wrong, you still have the same people trying to defend him, but he didn't change their minds. They already agreed with him anyways. He's not changing any more minds. In fact, if he is changing people's mind, it's people that are starting to come out like, oh, you know what? Maybe he is a little crazy.
He's a set group that supports him. But it's not like he's winning over like the populace.
I hear. I happen to think that's true, although that the movement that's coming along with all these people like Megyn Kelly even, which is it's unprecedented, and you can even see when Ben Shapiro he almost got a little destabilized. Wait a second, I thought she was my friend. She was like quote unquote normie or whatever, but
I want to. Are you Jewish?
You know, I am, yeah.
I want
Went
to.
to yeshiva
I
also.
bet you he's a Syrian Jew. Are you?
I am Syrian, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I know. I could tell that accent anywhere.
And for the previous guest, there's not only 16,000 pages. There's also another 100,000 commentary on the 16,000. But yeah.
Right. I want to say, and I want to say this. Maybe I hope this doesn't come out wrong. I want to caution specifically Jews, not just Zionists, but specifically Jews from. I don't know how to word this. I'm not disagreeing with you. These people do come with a movement. That is true. And this movement is not necessarily going to go away, and they have an influence. I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
Don't be too afraid, is what you're saying. Don't be too nervous.
Don't pour too much fuel onto that fire, is what I'm saying, because that movement, it turns out that it's already solidified in today's day. I'm not saying over the past 2 years that the movement hasn't grown with this anti-Semitism. I'm not saying that anti-Semitism is totally just a sleeping giant and it wakes up and it's the same thing it was before. No. I think there has been a definite growth and a definite push in this past, well, more than 2 years now, 2.5 years, for sure. I'm not denying that. And I'm not saying don't worry about it, like ignore it. It's an issue. I'm just simply saying don't let it consume your life. Continue to be exactly what the Jewish people are, which I believe is totally a light amongst the nations. Just continue to focus more on that. Give 10% of energy to that. Give 90% of your energy, really 100% if you can, to just being a light. Just being. Don't prove you're right. Just be right. I think it's a scary road to go down. It leads to anxiety. It leads to just you feel like you're losing some kind of sense of like reality. And I think, and Jews are already, no offense to you guys, but you guys are already very nervous people. I think every Jew has like a base level anxiety from birth. And so I just think I just caution, because going down that rabbit hole and just thinking social media is real life. Again, not saying it's not. This isn't a real thing. It is. Just be careful, okay? Because it can really make you have a distortion from reality.
Yeah, sure. I definitely agree with that. I definitely felt that. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
God bless.
But Nick, doesn't Islam like have such an influencer type of movement going on? Like people are just converting for fashion or reverting.
I don't know. I need to see a study on that. I did see when the encampments were going on in the universities that there was some people like
Nick,
some
do
like
you have
blue
any
hair
idea?
leftists.
You walk around New York now, you see like white people. I'm not talking Syrian looking. White people, blonde hair, blue eye. I don't know what hair. They're wearing hijabs, but blue eyes, European features with hijabs on. And it's not like I see one or two. There's so many.
Hey, I didn't know that. I haven't been to New York in at least like
It's
a year and a
either
half, 2
you
years.
see guys wearing keffiyehs, or like this is how the train looks every day, going to work and coming back.
Well, that's confusing. I thought Jews controlled everything. Why don't you guys crack down?
Somebody posted a video of like a bunch of people walking in New York City in like 1970, and the caption was The caption was 1970, not a Muslim in sight. Good times.
Good times. Yeah, you know, ironically, that's also when New York was at its height of economy, culture, just like that's literally when New York used to be
Like you
the
literally see
greatest
like a
city in
bunch of people
America.
walking in suits, like really high end looking, like diverse, but not a hijab or a Muslim in sight
Look,
at all.
it could be a total coincidence, but
No
I
halal carts,
think
nothing.
it's quite the coincidence that before Islam really took over a lot of parts of New York, I just think maybe it's a coincidence, but New York was literally known as the greatest city in the world, if not the world, definitely the United States, economically,
I hope we
culturally,
can keep that title.
cleanliness. Oh my God, cleanliness. New York used to be a clean place. Pretty crazy. I don't know. Maybe
Good
it's just a coincidence.
times.
Maybe it's just a coincidence.
What, the blonde girls in hijabs?
No, that's the downfall of New York economically and culturally is parallel. It lines up perfectly with the increase of Islam. It's
You know they
good-
want to
good
do like
coincidence.
lights out. The city that never sleeps is about to
What?
be lights out at 11 o'clock. Yeah, to save energy. So our beautiful skylight won't be there after 11 anymore.
Great. So y'all are
What?
turning into California. That's awesome.
That is insane.
Yeah.
You know, so you guys hate the environment is what you're saying.
I mean, you're shutting New York City down, and we're known for being the city that's open 24/7.
I was born and raised in that state, and it was a beautiful times. I moved
Soon
when
we're
I
gonna
was
have
21,
curfews.
and I had a wonderful 21 years in New York. I don't know what the fuck happened, you guys.
Anyways. Hey, what's up, Hammer?
Hello.
How's life?
Stressful.
I know. Bracha?
Stressful.
Are you
Filled with
okay,
anxiety.
Hammer?
Filled with anxiety and nerves.
Why?
You have someone
You
to
know
help with that?
why.
Seriously.
Oh,
You'll be
Yeah.
all right. You'll be all right.
This
you will
time
be
tomorrow
medicated to
you'll be
oblivion. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah.
That's a bonus. I'm gonna sleep good tomorrow for at
this
least
time
4 or 5 hours.
tomorrow you'll be all over. You're
You'll
gonna
be knocked the fuck.
be all brand new.
You know, we'll see what the pain threshold is, the pain situation is like.
You told me that it's not gonna be painful.
That's
Are
what they
they?
said to me, but who knows? I
Are
mean,
you gonna get something
Thank
for
you.
pain?
not the good stuff.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that makes
You can
sense.
Not
just
the good
get
stuff.
the
Only like
get the good
super
stuff.
strong Motrin. Lame.
Is
No,
Motrin any
demand the
different
good
than
stuff.
They are not allowed to give it unless you come back like 3 days later and you're like, I'm in so much pain.
Oh
Do
shit.
that.
Oh, I'm for
I
sure gonna
remember
do
the
that.
days when dentists would give that shit out like candy.
Yeah, the good old days.
Oh man.
I want to
They'd pull a tooth and they'd be like, here's a 30 Vicodin.
thanks for the
And also, Nick, by the way, on that topic, you know, I don't know how much you do listen to rap music, like new stuff at
no,
all.
not the new stuff, no.
Rap culture is so influenced by Islam right now.
What the okay,
Like
well rap culture
heavy,
sucks nowadays
heavy.
anyways.
I'm not even kidding. So
Look,
many rappers are like convincing their followers to
It's because
convert.
everyone converts in prison.
Wait, but what are they
It's
saying?
like
Yeah,
what
exactly.
saggy pants
Exactly. Most of
was
the
in the
rappers who
90s.
came out of prison
Are they
are
rapping
now
about
rapping about
Allah?
prison.
What are they rapping
I
about?
mean, Islam. Yeah, about being Muslim. They talk about it on podcasts.
Amazing. Great. Awesome.
For
Okay,
example,
real quick, I gotta get this out of the way before I get too far behind. Thank you for the super chat, officialtism. Hello to you and the wife. I'm just trying to see you debate Teen Withers for the love of all that is holy. Sure. What about Israel Palestine? He won't debate me on Israel Palestine. I mean, it'd be great, but I tried to debate him in person, and I don't know. We'll see. Curtis, thank you. I can just never imagine Islam being accepting of leftists. They will as long as they serve their agenda. They have to see that they are easy to manipulate. It's the only sense I make of that madness. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, you guys. I do want to play a video with Coleman Hughes that I saw today. Thought it was really good. You guys should take a look. Here it is right here. Coleman Hughes does a breakdown on like the myth of the Jewish lobby or Israeli lobby, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, this was a good video.
It was a good video. And it has a lot of Coleman Hughes is one of the best. He's great. Let me put it up on YouTube real quick. 1 second. There it is.
If you look at the actual scale of the Israel lobby, it's a relatively small lobby. Like as I said to Dave Smith, the entire pro-Israel lobby, not just AIPAC, the entire pro-Israel lobby was outspent in terms of lobbying Congress during the Obama years by the dentistry lobby. And it's approximately, you know, we're talking 1.5% of the dollars spent lobbying Congress as the lobbies we really think of as big, like big pharma, big oil, big tobacco. We have to include in the data set of this analysis all the times where the Israel lobby or pro-Israel interests have wanted something very strongly and not gotten it. The Golan Heights is only one example, and there was very low barrier to any president doing that, and they weren't able to secure it. Another example is in 2002, Condoleezza Rice writes in her memoir, Bush gave his famous Palestine speech, not that famous, but 2002, and they sent the Israelis a courtesy copy, and he was going to call for 2 states, which they didn't have a problem with, but he was going to call the new state Palestine, which they did have a problem with. So they call Condoleezza Rice, say, "You can't do this," and Condoleezza's like, "What do you mean we can't do this? Fuck off." And then they say, okay, just add one word to the speech, please. Just call it New Palestine instead of Palestine. And Condoleezza Rice is like, "What are you talking about? We're not giving it to you for approval. I'm giving it to you as a courtesy." They couldn't even get the president to add one word to his speech, but we're supposed to believe they can get us into multiple wars.
Just like real quick before I keep playing, like that line is like, so I don't even think this is a new thing that Coleman said. It was just, it's going viral. Maybe it is. Is this new? No, I don't think it is. Maybe I haven't seen Coleman's most recent episode. Maybe this is the most recent episode. Regardless, like it's so true. Like they can't get a fucking word put into a speech. One word, but somehow yeah, they got us into every single war. It's crazy.
They wanted us to bomb Syria's nuclear reactor. Bush didn't want to, so he said no. And so JCPOA is obviously the biggest example. The lobby pulled out the full force of their alleged power to stop the JCPOA, but
Sorry, some people are saying it is newish. Oh, it's from his debate with Greenwald. I haven't seen that yet. Thank you guys.
They couldn't do it. And so you have to include all of these in the data set of your assessment of the lobby's supposed power. You know, if you look at the actual...
Yeah, it's a good video. Like I said, I haven't seen the debate with Greenwald yet. I assume he did well. All right. Let's let up some guests on TikTok here. Thank you for the super chat, Brad. Can you play Fortnite? Was Epstein Mossad? What? Why you never read my chats about Epstein Mossad? I literally just read it. I'm not really sure what you're... Oh, it's 2 separate questions. Can you play... Okay, it was like a run-on sentence here. Yeah, so I don't really play Fortnite anymore, and if I did, I would play with Bracha. But was Epstein Mossad? Everyone's actually the Mossad. Even if you think you're not, you are... you actually are. HD, go ahead.
Yeah, can I get an argument as to why one of the biggest problems in the world is Islam?
Yeah, sure. For my beliefs, right? I believe in Western culture, ideology, individualism, humanism, amongst other things, but I think that's a good starting point. And Islam doesn't have that.
So the Judaism and traditional Christianity doesn't have it either.
So a couple things. One, yes, they do. But 2, I think it's interesting that... Why are you interrupting me?
Okay, go ahead.
So I think it's interesting that Muslims are the only people, because I've debated even with Jews, especially when it comes to like rabbinical Judaism, things I don't agree with. I've debated with Christians. In fact, just in this live, I was talking about things I don't agree with Christianity. I've never once heard Christians go, yeah, but that's the thing in Islam too. So they've always just either said, I'll pray for you, they defend their religion. Muslims are the only people in the world that when you asked me directly, you said, and I quote, can you tell me why you think Islam is a big problem for the world? You didn't say, what is it about Islam versus Christianity or Judaism? All you said was, why do I think Islam's a big problem? It's like asking me, why do I think the Triple K is a bad group? And I mention it and you go, well, Nazis are bad too. It's like, well, yeah, okay, sure. Like, what does that have to do with your question? Your question is why do I consider it a problem for the world? So can you either say why I'm wrong? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with some, not all? Why are you bringing up other things? That wasn't part of the question.
Yeah, I'll answer your question because clearly, if your claim is that Islam is not, it's not welcomed or it shouldn't be part of the Western world, is because of things like individualism, liberalism, things like that, then you should also include.
I never said
Judaism and
liberalism.
Christianity. Well, individualism is part of liberalism. If you read the liberal, like traditional liberalism,
Just because
individualism
individual is
of it.
part of liberalism doesn't mean that I said that it's also liberalism is something that I necessarily agree with. I do agree
Okay,
with a
no
lot of
worries, you can-
liberalism. 1 second. I do agree with a lot of liberalism. I just simply said that you added that. I'm not... Okay. Just, can you do me a favor? Can you just answer what I say? Not add any words into my mouth. Don't change the subject. Don't bring up something else, right? Because, again, your question was very clear. And I answered your question very clearly.
Oh well,
If Judaism,
I'm gonna
if
answer your question.
Judaism,
But just let me
if
answer. it first,
Judaism,
bro.
if Judaism doesn't comport with liberalism, then why is it said that Western liberal civilization is based on Judeo-Christian values?
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Why would people say
terminology.
that?
I don't agree with that terminology.
Well, you may not agree with it, but that doesn't mean it's not widely understood and accepted.
I don't think it's widely understood. I think the
Sure,
people on the right
go
typically say
check
that.
now what Judeo-Christian values are in Western civilization, and you'll see they're
I'm
linked.
familiar. But just to answer the host's question, American Muslims match or exceed national average in education and income, in vote, and when it
Yeah, no,
comes
the
to
Somalis are doing
civically
great. The Somalis are
participation.
doing. The
So
Somalis are doing a
Islam
great
can
job.
be compatible with the West the same way Jews can be compatible and traditional Christian can be compatible.
He
in
didn't
the
say
West.
Muslims couldn't be. He
Right.
said Islam.
Yeah, so real quick, exactly, that's what I was just going to say. Once again, even though I requested if you can answer what I say, I don't know if it's a Muslim thing, I don't know if it's a you thing,
Answer your
I
question.
said answer what I said. Can you tell me in my entire answer when I ever said anything about Muslims?
Wait,
Can you
if
just
you're
tell me
talking
when I
about-
said, nope, don't answer with a question, just answer me directly. For the 1000th time, answer me directly. In my entire answer, when did I ever say anything about Muslims, or especially imply that Muslims could not go into Western culture at all? Like, when did I ever say anything even closely, remotely close to that?
Oh, you didn't, but it's implied in the question because if I'm
Nope,
going to
nope,
demonstrate
nope,
Islamic,
nope,
wait,
nope,
let me answer your
no,
question, dude.
no, you
You're a
answered
coward,
perfectly.
bro.
You
You're a
answered
coward.
already. Yeah, that's great. You answered already. You just said you didn't say it, but it's implied. Implied by what standard? Your standard?
No, I'll tell you how it's implied if
How
you
about
let me
you do
talk.
what I asked you in the beginning? Do not put words into my mouth. Don't assume you know what I'm saying, like, oh, you didn't say it, but I know what you meant. Just answer my question directly. Or if you want to know, then just ask me, like, hey, Nick, do you mean Muslims? And I will be more than glad to be like, no, that's why I didn't say it. Don't imply, don't change, don't add, don't do any of that. Because if I wanted to say, I would have said it. If I want to say it in the future, I will say it as we progress in our conversation. It's not up to you to determine what I actually mean, because you're not smart enough to do that. So just
Wait, okay,
answer what
so
I said.
If I'm not able to demonstrate Islamic values by a Muslim, how else am I supposed to demonstrate it and tell you
How
if it's
about by
compatible or
Islam?
incompatible with the West?
It's pretty crazy. How
Well,
about
I
Islam?
can't do that without demonstrating it, without Muslim demonstrating their values. Because
Nope,
then, if
nope,
it's not
because
being
Muslims can
demonstrated,
just
then
be
it's a
bad.
fraud.
Muslims can just be bad Muslims. They could just be not following Islam very closely. Same thing with Christianity. Christians,
Well, you can say
the
that-
teachings of Jesus, the teachings of Jesus were very clear. If a Christian doesn't follow it, you can't say, oh, look, that's Christianity because this Christian over here does this. That's not necessarily true at all. How about if you want to defend Islam and why I shouldn't think it's... Because remember, the real question wasn't can it be in the West or this spot or that spot. The real question is why is it a problem? I gave you why objectively for me it's a problem. You obviously agree with the values of pedophilia, warmongering, lying, etc. And so if for all you have to do, well, I'm not Jewish actually. And I know you know that because you've been listening to stop talking over me. Is it an Islamic thing to just talk over people the whole time?
Bro, is it a Jewish
Anyways, back to
ramble. Like, come on,
actually,
man.
yeah, that is. I'm not a Jew, but that actually
it's a Jewish thing to beat your ass. To beat, no, it's a Jewish thing to beat Muslims' ass. That's what we Jews do. We beat your ass.
Dude, you're like, dude.
We beat your ass.
I just want to. Okay, all right, HD, relax.
Beat your ass.
Yeah. Anyways, great. Anyways, HD, I'm not Jewish, but I will answer you about. No, don't unmute. Stay muted, boy. Anyways, I will answer you. It is actually a Jewish thing to ramble on and on. They do kind of ramble. But that being said, what I was trying to say before you fucking interrupted me again, yeah, just one, answer what I say, don't imply. If you want to defend Islam, then just use the values of Islam and what you see. Pull from the Quran. Tell me what you think I'm wrong about when I pull from the Quran and the Hadith, assuming you're Sunni, right? Tell me what I'm getting wrong. Don't just tell me, well, Muslims, yeah, they do on average better economically. I agree with that actually. Not necessarily the Somali community. They're doing awful and they're also stealing from the American people in the terms of tens of billions of dollars. But generally speaking, that's true because Islam is still a monotheistic religion. And I believe monotheism can help you a lot, especially compared to well, okay, Bracha says she fact-checked it and you're kind of lying, but whatever. I'll still get this out. I believe monotheism, even Islam, can help you, especially compared to like militant atheism and extreme secularism, which I'm not in favor for. And I will even take someone, maybe not following Islam perfectly, but enough to where it organizes their life. I will take that over someone who's an extreme leftist, secular person, for sure. So, I mean, Bracha, do you want to tell us what you found? Because I don't want to keep
your argument.
No, you can't. No.
You're such an emotional little man. It's okay.
Nobody's being emotional right now. I just said no.
How
In fact,
far
you're
are
being
you
emotional by being sad about
when
it.
I looked it up, I just looked up how Muslims compared to other religious groups and atheists in the United States in terms of educational attainment
Why
and
atheists? Why
professional
didn't you do
achievement.
Christianity? That's very interesting.
I,
Do
I
Christianity.
said
All right.
I did
Go ahead, Bracha.
all
Just go
other
ahead.
religions and atheists. And yeah, it showed that Muslims.
It's the funny thing is all they do is they interrupt and then it makes your sentence stupid because they just didn't want to hear everything else. Anyways, HD, you can come back up after, but the problem is you just keep interrupting her because you're getting debunked, and so you don't want to get debunked, so you're trying to interrupt her from stopping it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so educational attainment for Muslims is slightly above average compared to Americans in general. It's below Hindus, it's well below Jews, it's obviously below like Shinto, Buddhist, faiths associated with East Asians. And then professionally, it's pretty mixed. There are some high achieving Muslims, but they skew middle lower. So
Yeah, I
the
think
idea that like, oh, Islam is great because look how great Muslims are doing. Like, yeah, I mean, they seem to be doing okay. Like,
well,
they're fine.
it's also just ridiculous because that would be Muslims specifically in significantly better countries, better economies, just overall just better countries. Islam can provide a sense of structure for people. And I think that's awesome. In fact, that's why a lot of people in prison convert to Islam, because it's a very rigid religion, and the people that probably need the most rigidity, right? Wake up at this time, do this prayer at this time, and then this one, and before you go to bed, do this. That would be people that are in prison. But that's also why you guys, get people like that to convert to. Yeah, criminals, exactly. Which also makes sense. Islam would be a good one to convert to if you are a criminal.
Also low IQ.
But that being correct. But yes, I think it can provide a certain rigidity in your life that is good for you, that will let you be a, maybe not the greatest person, but better than maybe you'd be, I guess, without
certainly
it.
better to be multiple times a day in prayer, like in a posture of humility and gratitude. I think that is a good thing for humans.
Exactly. And so to come up and say, well, in America specifically, where they make up 1% to 2%, they're doing, in some cases, thanks for the fact check, but in some cases, they might be doing slightly better than the average compared to just like the average American period. Okay, fine, that's cool. But that's not Islam. That's Muslims and how they act when they are an extreme minority in powerful countries. How will it be when Muslims become 10%? How will it be when Muslims become 30%? How about 50%? How about when Muslims take over the government? How will it be? We know how it'll be because we've seen every Muslim country, and the only ones that are doing, I guess, somewhat, I guess, from the outside point of view, decent, but definitely not inside because they do slavery, are some of these Gulf states, and that's because they found oil reserves. Literally, like if you look at the UAE, go look it up, you guys. Prior to, what was it, the 1970s is when they found their oil reserves. Go look at what the UAE looked like prior to finding the oil reserves. Overnight, they became extremely wealthy. Literally, when I say overnight, I'm not being hyperbolic. It was like literally overnight. Before that, they were just, there was like nothing. And if you look at pretty much every Muslim country, they're all doing either awful, most likely awful, or they're doing way worse than if their exact same land was in the hands of Western powers. There's some of these lands, like Iran, for example, the Persian Gulf. You know how many natural resources there are there? Even with sanctions, they should be extremely wealthy. And they're not, because it's full of corruption, because that's what Islamic societies do. It's full of persecution. It's full of they're giving half of the Persian Gulf natural gases that they get from the Persian Gulf. They give half of it to Qatar. Do you guys know that? Like, there's no reason they should be in the position that they are, but because it's controlled by Islam, it's fucked up. If it was controlled by a Western power, it'd be booming. But anyways, like I said, none of this has to do with what we originally talked about. So
I would suggest
wanna
that
know-
corruption. I would suggest that corruption has more to do with lack of any history of self-governance, proper self-governance. Because you look at African countries and Central and South American countries that are predominantly Christian, they're also wildly corrupt, and I wouldn't tie that to Christianity.
That's fair.
So they don't have self-government, and because they don't have self-government, they're low trust societies, high trust
Do you
societies.
think Iran is the same as these Western African countries, though? Because obviously Africa has a lot of natural resources, but they don't really have the ability to mine and actually refine these natural resources, whereas Iran does have the ability.
It took them a long while to be able to do that, though.
I think Iran has done relatively well under the sanctions they've been on, especially when it comes to women literacy rate.
Yeah, I mean, their currencies, they've got a really strong currency, so I agree
Yeah,
with
their
you.
currency is kind of fudged, but when it comes
No,
to literacy
currencies are
rate,
great.
yeah, when it comes to
Wow.
sanctions, but when it comes to the literacy rate, especially among women, it's like literally 90%.
Wait, you think their currency is
Literacy-
bad? Oh, that's
But
crazy.
anyway,
I
which
thought-
argument am I
oh,
replying to specifically?
Yeah, so literacy rate, just FYI, this is the only people that use literacy rate as some kind of like any gotcha is just leftists and people that don't know what they're talking about. It doesn't mean much. It doesn't imply any of the attributes that I was referring to a successful country. You can have a high literacy rate and have shit attributes of the attributes I was actually referring to. You can have a lower, maybe not super low. I'll give you that. You can't have a super low literacy rate, but you can have a relatively lower literacy rate and be booming in all the attributes that I actually
Well,
referred
that's
to.
not true, Nick, because majority of the academic positions
Yes, it
are
is.
held by women
Yes,
in
it is.
Iran. Look at the university position, look at the teachers, look at the university professors.
Again, the
Majority of
university
the academic
position doesn't mean
positions are held by
anything.
women.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. The university position doesn't mean anything.
No, it means that
it
women
doesn't
are
mean
able to
anything.
contribute to society by a lot, which means a lot.
That's
You
okay,
know, the only
great. The only
countries-
reason you're bringing that up, is because you know how bad Islam is to women. So you're trying to bring up something that nobody even talked about women or academia. You're only bringing it up because you're trying to, like, I don't know, maybe get ahead of an argument about how Islam just completely diminishes women. Then why'd you bring it up? Who brought?
The only countries that
Because you made the point that a lot of Muslim countries are not doing well because of Islam, and one of the examples you brought up was Iran, and
Nobody
I
brought
told
up
you, Iran
women. Nobody
even
brought up
though-
academia. Nobody brought up women. Nobody brought up academia. You brought it up just so you can try to be like, see, we're not that
components of
awful to
country.
women. Nobody
By the
brought
way,
it up, dude. Nobody brought it up, dude.
The only countries
You have to
that
bring
talk
something up for me
about
to talk
literacy
about it,
rate
bud?
are the countries
okay.
most likely to restrict what those supposedly literate people are allowed to read.
What is this guy on?
Exactly.
Well, because you guys, first of all, literacy is my kids were reading at 5 years old, right? I wouldn't call them literate in the
Not
traditional
all
sense
kids
as we
live in
understand.
America.
Hold on, dude,
man.
I'm still talking.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't call
dude,
them
Jesus fucking
literate
Christ.
just because they can
Go ahead.
read. We teach elementary school kids how to read. It's ridiculous. It's not a measure of intelligence, IQ, academic prowess, etc. But the point is, I'm not willing to sacrifice supposed literacy rates for freedom. I'd rather less people are able to read whatever they want to read rather than be restricted to what the government says they're allowed to read just so they can have a high literacy rate.
Isn't it
Cuba
crazy I
talks
have
about
to
that all
treat
the
this
time
kid
too.
like... Speaking of 5-year-olds,
Cuba
I
always
have to
talks about
treat
it.
this... I have to... Speaking of 5-year-olds, I have to treat this guy like a 5-year-old just to get him to stop interrupting after... It's not even like he interrupts after a sentence. It's like 5 words max, and he interrupts, and I have to treat him like a 5-year-old. Like, this is the guy that probably would be part of the literacy rate statistic. Literacy rate doesn't mean anything. It doesn't... Okay, I'm not going to say it's not important at all. I'm not saying we shouldn't teach people how to read. Of course we should. But high literacy rate is not... First off, I want to point out that the literacy rate before the Islamic Revolution in Iran was extremely high. This is not Islamic culture. This is not the Islamic regime. This is Iranian culture. Yes, they are very, very intelligent people. The Persian people, regardless of the religion, are very, very intelligent. I don't think anyone, unless they're completely ignorant, is denying that. In fact, they're one of the smartest in the world. Persians are incredibly intelligent. But that
Prior to
has
the
nothing to do
revolution-
with Islam.
Prior to the revolution, Iran had more doctors and engineers per capita than any country in the world.
Right. The Iranian scientists are incredibly intelligent. They were able to, I mean, they worked with China, but they were able to, this was a long time ago, like 20 years ago. They took an American drone, hacked it, got it to land without damaging it at all, then reverse engineered the whole thing. Excuse me. It's like when Islam's like, oh, we created algebra. A Persian man who was forced into Islam. Yeah, that's true. He was Persian.
Cool.
All right, HD. I wanted to give you one more chance, but I don't think you're capable of this conversation. I'm gonna be real.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna move on to Jake. HD, if you're still around after Jake, maybe I'll bring you back up. But I think you need to take a lot of self-reflection first and learn how to not interrupt. Jake, go ahead. Jake, hello. All right. Khazarian Kagan could like do whatever.
Yeah. So I'm a student at a university in California, and I was just wondering. Look, I'm a proud Jew, but I'm also wondering. I see a lot of anti-Semitism, especially. I mean, both not directed toward me personally. I'm a pretty decently big guy, but towards friends. I'm wondering what else could I do to sort of help. I guess combat anti-Semitism on campus.
What else can you do? I'm not really sure. What else can you do to I feel like they're just gonna be anti-Semitic. It's more about either fighting back via words. I guess I don't really recommend violence, but obviously I do recommend every Jew to take self-defense for the purposes of self-defense. If for some reason anti-Semitism went beyond just words and harassment, you can take it up with the university and actually fight back, kind of do the whole Shabbos Kestenbaum kind of thing. He did a lot to work with the Trump administration and politicians, even though he was Democrat. Well, he might still, I don't know, be. I don't think he's. I think he left the Democrat Party. He might be independent now, but he works with the Trump administration, and he's worked hard to, fight back against specifically Harvard, but other these big universities.
Legal options, or
yeah, I mean that is what he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Sorry, I thank you.
I wish I can give you a better answer, but it's just I wish I could say do this and anti-Semitism will go away, but it's just not. It's just not going to be a thing, unfortunately.
No. I totally get it. I mean, I'm lucky that I don't personally get that much personally, but I have friends who are also Jewish, and they're smaller, and they get it more. But thank you.
What do you think, Hammer, Bracha, Donnie?
I mean, I think going the university route, especially in California, I don't know what school it is, but I know a lot of schools in California. I think that's probably a waste of time, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to give it to tell you over DM, but not over public. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you. Again, I don't think it really matters because I think whether it's the UC or CSU or some other school outside of that, it doesn't matter. They're all fucked up. I don't get a thick skin. If anyone gets in your face, get back in their face, tell them to fuck off. If they swing,
oh yeah, totally.
File charges, file a civil suit. I mean, that's the best thing. Just understand it's part of life as a Jew on a college campus, and get a thick skin, and don't shriek away from their words. Fight back with their words.
No,
they're just most of them are just trying to bully. The blue hairs, the septum pierces, the he, she, they, thems. They're not really looking for a scrap usually, but just don't back down and tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, no, I have honestly, I found that they're pretty cowardly up here, but thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
All right.
Thank you, Lee Paper Low, for the super chat. The Jewish religion is the only religion that began with millions of people that received the Torah at Mount Sinai.
That's true.
I guess that is true.
It's the audaciousness. It's the audaciousness of Judaism is that our revelation happened in front of 3 million people. It wasn't someone sent down as a messenger of God. It wasn't done in a cave with a guy wearing a thunder vest because he got such anxiety he needed to be hugged and cradled. Our story is 3 million people witnessed God reveal the Torah to Moses, and it was such an overwhelming experience that they couldn't approach the mountain or even look up into the sky. So that is the belief.
That's a good point. Thank you, Hi Tot Suf. Jesus, some of you guys' YouTube names are insane. I'm just gonna call you Hi, or maybe it's Hit. I don't know. Thank you for the super chat. Quick off topic. Don't know to ask if you've seen the movie A Serious Man. I have not. Never even heard of it, to be honest.
To the guy in the comment section, the Talmud came a couple thousand years after the Torah was revealed. The Talmud couldn't have come when the Torah was revealed because the Talmud is discussions by rabbis about the Torah. If they came together, it wouldn't have made much sense. But that's okay. You can't even spell your last name correctly.
Right. It's not even that even like rabbinical Judaism particularly believes that, right? It's just the oral Torah that they believe was passed down, but the Talmud is not just the oral Torah, correct?
It's the discussions related to the Torah and the Mishnah and the Tanakh. It's just a discussion about all the text.
Right, but it includes the oral Torah.
Yeah, of course. That's the Mishnah.
Right. That, I believe, I'm not saying I agree, but I believe some Orthodox Jews, they believe that was given to Moses, correct?
Everyone, well, that's the Jewish understanding. There's the whole concept of Orthodox is a modern invention created by assimilationist Reformed Jews in the 1500s, 1600s. There was no such thing as an Orthodox Jew. There was just a Jew, right? This Orthodox thing came as a way for the Reform movement to try and paint practicing Jews as radical. Orthodox carries a negative connotation. So there's really no such thing as Orthodox Jews. Those are modern labels attached as a way to disparage the more religiously inclined in our community.
Sure.
Hi, Kelly.
Conservative Kelly, yes, hello.
Hi. I just came up because there's somebody in your comments every night that drives me out of my mind. He goes by the name Muslim.
Oh, I'll get rid of him. No problem.
He won't debate. I told him to come up here if he wants to debate
Of course he won't
Christianity
debate. He's
over
scared.
like Islam. He thinks Jesus was a Muslim, which is impossible, but you know. And
No,
I
they
just
never want
wanted
to
to say
debate.
that. I know.
Yeah.
I just want to say I saw your whole thing. I played it for my husband. Your YouTube with the girl from Armenia, where she like exposed herself like for being like completely a whack job. Like
Right.
as the
Yeah.
evening went on, that was alarming, by the way. But I also wanted to say that I don't think that like it's wrong for us to like. It's not Islamophobia when we have we have a rational fear of extremism, any type of extremism.
Islamophobia doesn't exist. There's no such thing
Right.
as Islamophobia.
So all these
Islamophobia is a
people who
word
say,
that
you
they
know,
use to shut you up. Yeah, it's
why don't we?
ridiculous. Yeah, go ahead.
I told my niece today. I call her my niece, but she's like kind of like an adopted thing. She lives in Israel. I told her today. I said, "Sweetheart, the fact is that as much as we try to love other people, nobody's strapping on a backpack full of explosives, you know, running into a theater with kids or whatever, you know, screaming Christ is King or Abraham is the God of creation. You know, it's not us that do it, you know, and so." Unfortunately, I wish we lived in the world where there weren't people like that existed, but
There
it's such a
are
thing.
right. There are people. Islamophobia doesn't exist. Are there people legitimately out there that just have a hatred just because they see a hijabi or a Muslim and they don't even know why? They've never actually taken the time to learn Islam and why they should be against it. Yes, those people do exist. It's not Islamophobia. That would be
correct.
I don't know, just a bigoted person. Yes, those people do exist. I'm not saying that, but Islamophobia, like you said, phobia is the irrational fear. It is not irrational to have a fear of Islam. It's not irrational at all. In fact, it's very rational. But yes, I do agree that there are obviously people. Real quick, let me catch up with these super chats. Michael says, does anti-Semitism propaganda come from old books? Do you know the origin of all this? No, I mean, yes, there's a lot of old books that do this, but no, of course not. Anti-Semitism is before that. Mandy, thank you. If you want to know why the UK didn't help Israel, America, it's because their navy is depleted so badly they couldn't. The UK cannot even move an aircraft carrier because it has no backup fleet.
That's true.
What happened to their navy?
16 of their 17 ships are out for repairs. They only have one functioning frigate, and when this is, I swear what I'm about to tell you is true. You're not going to believe me, but it's true.
Okay.
The ports where the ships are being repaired are unionized, and they only work 9 to 5, and they take weekends off. And Starmer wouldn't ask them to alter their schedule for the purposes of getting these ships ready. I swear to you, it's true. I swear to you, it's true. Because you can't make that up. You can't make that up.
You know what? As someone who worked at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard during my first unit I was on, I would have loved if it was 9 to 5 no weekends. That would have been incredible. It was 24/7, baby.
He won't ask them to work more so they can't get the ships.
He can't just get a night shift, like
They
hire more
can't do
people
it.
so they're still working 9 to 5, but then like anyways, Isn't it crazy how much money we give to our allies and their military capability? I didn't even know that. Thanks for letting me know, Mandy and Hammer. 16 of 17. What? Where's all the money that we give them? At least when we give money to Israel, no one can deny it's not being militarily used. In fact, Israel, especially their Air Force, is probably the best in the world, honestly. Like, our equipment is definitely better than theirs, but their pilots are very, very trained because they're always using it. Like, and I'm saying in times of war, because there's a big difference when you're in war and you're actually doing real missions, and when you're in a time of peace and you're doing drills. Anyone who was in the military from early 2000s, especially till 2020, right? I joined in 2012. There was a shift where we went from doing real missions to doing drills, and it's night and day. Don't get me wrong, drills are good. They keep you somewhat engaged and ready, but it's just not the same. And Israeli pilots are consistently, actually doing real missions, and so their pilots are
this
deadly.
Iran war, this Iran war, and in the Houthis, and with Hezbollah, and with Hamas, not a single Israeli fighter jet has been hit, and
that's right.
Ours have been, and ours have been a few, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's not a dig at the United States. It just sucks when you're not really at war. You have to do drills, and again, drills are important, but it's never going to be the same as consistently being at mission. Anyways, thank you, Lee Paper Low. Christianity is full of human error. For example, the New Testament says Jacob went to Egypt with 75 people, and in the Old Testament it says that Jacob went to Egypt with 70 people. I actually don't know about that. I'll look into that. Okay. Well, thank you, Conservative Kelly. Did you know one Iranian rial gives you $0 US?
It's 1.67 million rials to the dollar.
That's insane. That's
And
insane.
just FYI, everybody.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's they're in a hyperinflationary situation right now. Hyperinflation. Yeah, it's bad.
So to buy a PS5 in Iran, it costs like $1 billion rial.
Yeah, dude. You have to be like Santa Claus with one of those sacks, and you fill the sack full of cash. You have to walk. You can't use a purse anymore because there's no wallet big enough. You walk around like Santa Claus with a big sack of cash.
I just typed in one Iranian rial. It's worth 7.6 times 10 to the negative 7th dollar.
Oh yeah, dude, it's worthless.
That would be 0.000000076 dollars.
It's worthless. It's nothing.
That's crazy. That's fucking wild. Go ahead, John.
Hello, everyone. My question is for Hebrew.
Yeah.
You said that earlier that the Mishnah was received at Mount Sinai. My question to you would be, why don't Ethiopian Jews have any record of it then?
Why don't Ethiopian Jews have any record of what? Because the Mishnah was passed down orally until the Romans came in, and by that point the Ethiopians were long gone because they left during the time of Solomon. So they didn't keep on the oral tradition, and the reason the Mishnah was done is because the fear of all the scholars being killed, they wanted to codify it into writing. It's the oral Torah, but it's
Maybe
been
I'm
written
not-
down because of the
Maybe I'm
threat
not
of-
understanding. Sorry, maybe I'm not understanding the question, but why? What is your thought process on why specifically the Ethiopian Jews would have record? I don't understand. What do you mean?
Because they were there at Mount Sinai, right? They are the lost tribe of
Yeah,
Dan.
but it's the
so
oral. It's the oral
Yeah, so they
Torah.
would've-
It's in the
so
it's
they
in
would
the
have been
name.
there.
Oral.
Yeah, so they would have been there when God gave it to Moses.
Right, but they might not have, because the tribe was very decimated during the Assyrian conquest in 722 BCE. So it is distinctly possible that enough of the people that knew the oral transmission were killed, and so they couldn't carry it on. That's why we had to codify it into writing.
So your thesis
They left
is that
before
they just lost it?
Babylon.
Correct. They left. No, they left during Solomon's time.
So they wouldn't have anybody
Right.
that had that oral knowledge?
They wouldn't know. They also don't follow the Talmud because the Talmud came
Why-
way after they were already in Ethiopia.
Okay,
Right.
so
I'm not really understanding your point.
Yeah, yeah.
It was way later. Why would they have it?
because he said that the Mishnah was the oral law given to Moses and passed down orally. So that means that
Right, but
they would've
who?
heard-
Yeah,
they
but
would've-
who
they
was the
would've-
one that was keeping that orally?
all of them would
It wasn't every Jew.
No, it wasn't
or
all of
every
them. It was only the
Israelite.
scholars. The average,
Right.
the
Exactly.
average Israelite who was,
So
working
the
a
whole
job,
tribe of
he
Dan
wouldn't
did not
have the
the
oral
oral
Torah.
Torah? Is that
John,
what you're saying?
hold your tongue for a second, John, so you can hear the
Yeah.
whole thing. Because what you're
The
saying
oral
doesn't make
Torah
any
was given to
sense. You're
Moses.
thinking every single. Right,
The
you're
oral
thinking
Torah was
every,
given to Moses.
And
Moses
then who
got
did
the
he
oral
pass it
Torah.
Hammer,
down?
I think there's a delay, Hammer, because your lips are not matching your words.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, you think every single Israelite would pass on from Moses to? There's actually,
Well,
I know if you actually go to Chabad, hold on, just wait for the whole thing and then respond. Because right now you're responding for half the sentences, and so you're not hearing everything. Just wait, just take a breath, okay? Anyways, there's actually a list that shows who it was passed down to person by person, but these were the priests. Do you think, and this is a question, so I need a yes or no so I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Do you think every single Israelite was studying and had the oral Torah memorized?
That's not exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I find
Okay, so I'm going to need a
weird that-
yes or no so I understand where you're coming
That's
from.
not a
Do you
yes or
think
no
every single
question. It's not that
Israelite...
easy.
It is a yes or no. Do you
No,
think
no,
every
no, no, I don't.
Israelite...
No, not
Okay.
every Israelite.
Okay, perfect. So why do you think, back to my original question, why do you think
Sure.
the Ethiopian Jews specifically, which are not descendant of the priests, why would they be the ones to have it when they left before Babylon?
Because the whole tribe of
That's why I
Dan is
wanted
what
you to
you're
hear
saying.
everything, by the way, because now it
So
makes
the,
sense.
so the Ethiopian, which is Beta Israel, right, represents the lost tribe of Dan. What King Hebrew is saying is that the whole tribe of Dan never had any mention or knowledge
That's not what I
of
said.
the oral Torah.
That's not what
That's
I
not what he
said.
said at all.
Well, they don't
Not what I
they
said.
don't
It's not even
follow
close
it.
to what he
So
said.
where is
No,
where's
because the oral Torah was given
Yeah.
to Moses.
Okay.
Moses, him and him alone got the oral Torah, and he memorized it, and he passed it on to the priestly class, which was their own class. They were the Levites, right? And the Cohens
Yeah.
are part of the Levites. So why would the Dans know the oral Torah if they weren't Levites?
Well, I mean, doesn't the oral Torah tell you exactly how to slaughter for sacrifice, which is what is needed to do it properly, correct?
Right, but it's one thing. I can memorize the Declaration of Independence, right? No, that's the Gettysburg Address. I can memorize the Declaration of Independence. When I discuss it with you, I can teach you about the Declaration of Independence. That doesn't mean you know it word for word. That means you know the parts that I'm teaching you.
I know, which I agree with, but what I'm saying is, so they wouldn't have any. But you're saying they don't have any knowledge of it because they don't even recognize it. They have no knowledge or recollection of it in their practices.
Just
as
real quick,
Beta
I just
Israel.
want to correct something before you guys go too far. I didn't want to interrupt, but just so you know, the sacrifice is in the book of Leviticus. It's not in the Talmud. I mean, it might be in the Talmud as well, but you said it was you implied it was only in the Talmud. I hope you understand. Are you a Jew?
No, I'm not.
Have you ever read the Torah?
Yes, I mean I haven't read the full thing, but I do try to study as much as I can.
Have you read the 5 books of Moses? 5
I've
books. That's
read,
it.
yes.
Okay.
I haven't read all of the Tanakh though.
When's the last time you read it? Because maybe not that well. You don't remember Leviticus chapters? It's like the
I know
first
it's
5 to
it's
10
from 1 through
chapters.
7. 1 through 7. It tells
Oh,
you how
you
to
do
sprinkle the
know?
blood.
Oh,
Yes.
that's crazy. So you
Yes.
just lied earlier.
Well, no, I'm not lying. What I'm
You
saying
said it
is,
wasn't in the Torah. It was
hold
in
on.
the oral
Can you-
Torah.
let me explain. A lot of people say that the
Something's not
proof
adding
that
up
there is.
here.
Hold on. No, let me explain. And I hope Hebrew understands what I'm saying. A lot of people say that the proof that the oral Torah was given to Moses is because there are certain commands that God gave that weren't explicitly said in the Torah. An example is how to correctly slaughter an animal, or all
Which
the
is in the
steps that
Torah.
are needed. But it goes into the Talmud goes more into depth on it.
Nope,
Am
no.
I
What the
wrong,
Talmud
King?
does, is it codifies what's already in the Torah, and they reference the Torah to give that explanation. It's commentary, really, and arguments and debates and conversations, right? But this idea that you said earlier that it wasn't in the Torah, it was only in the oral Torah,
Well,
and then
I
you come
debated
back
this
and
with
you said that it's in Leviticus 1-7, which makes me feel like you just looked it up real quick because there's no way
no, I
you knew
debated this with Rabbi.
exactly.
I mean, I debated this with Rabbi Lit,
I
and
don't really
he
care. That
said,
has nothing to do with what we're
"Okay,
talking
well,
about.
I'm just giving
He
you.
knows
I'm
more
just
than
giving you. I
me.
spoke
Nick,
to a
I'm
rabbi.
letting Renzi up. Oh,
He knows
I
more than
spoke
I
to a
do, so you
rabbi
should probably
about this
talk
as
to him.
well, and he gave that example of proof
John,
that God had to
before
have
you
given
even move
an
on with
oral
this
law.
conversation, where did
Yeah,
you get the idea that Ethiopian Jews don't follow any sort of oral law? Where did you get that
they
idea?
they do not follow the Mishnah or the Talmud, is what I said.
Those they don't. It's not that they don't follow oral law. It's that they did not study the Mishnah and Talmud. Those came way after the
But King
the
Hebrew said that the
destruction of the
Mishnah,
kingdom. Hold on,
King,
let me
King,
finish what I'm
yeah.
saying.
There's no way this
The
guy's not Muslim.
codified, when they wrote down the Talmud and Mishnah, they wrote down the oral law that they already knew. Just because the Ethiopians did not have or study the Talmud or Mishnah does not mean that they did not follow oral law. They had certain customs that had to do with oral law, not just written law. There are many customs that they follow that are oral law. They keep kosher. They know how to slaughter. They follow a lot of the holidays that are not in the written Torah. So what are you talking about?
Well, you're going against what King Hebrew just said
King
earlier, that the
Hebrew is
Mishnah
talking
was
about that they were not
the
able
Mishnah.
to have it written down because they left before it was
Nobody
codified.
was talking about
That's
writing
what he
it
was
down.
explaining.
We were talking about if the Mishnah was given at Mount
Mishnah
Sinai
and
to
Well, the
Talmud
Moses.
were
Mishnah
not a
wasn't
thing.
given.
They were not a thing when the oral law was given to Moses. They were written down way later.
Correct. The Mishnah came much later.
So is the
Oral law
oral
was
law not the
passed
Mishnah?
down, or
The
like
Mishnah.
Nick and Hammer explained to you, oral law was passed down to the priests of the tribes and the elders, and they taught and answered questions to the tribes. They didn't, your average Israelite did not walk around knowing oral Torah at the top of their head. They got their traditions from their teachers and from their prophets and from the elders. So, like, you're not, when the Ethiopians left, when that tribe left, they kept a lot of that oral law. They just didn't have it written down.
Well,
Correct.
yeah,
But
and
now
I
they
understand
The
that.
follow
Mishnah.
everything.
The Mishnah's
Why
not
does it matter?
The Mishnah's not particular because this guy. I could tell by the way he's like, just the way he acts. I don't know why. I've gotten really good. Are you Muslim?
No,
Don't lie. If you lie, I'm gonna
I'm not
kick you.
Muslim.
You're
I'm
say
not
Muhammad
Muslim.
is a false
Nah,
prophet.
he's a fucking liar, dude.
I'm not
Yes, you
Muslim.
are. Is Muhammad a false prophet?
I don't follow. I'm not Muslim,
Yeah, this
so
guy's
I don't.
Muslim. Yeah. They have a problem saying that. Some of them will still say it and still be Muslim because they're just like not super pious. So they'll be like, oh yeah, he's a false prophet, whatever. But no one answers immediately with like you see what he just did? I said, is Muhammad a false prophet? He didn't immediately go, yes, of course he is. Because anyone non-Muslim would say that. Fuck yeah, he is. They would say it directly. They say it proud. Yeah, he's a false prophet. But the fact that he just kind of reverted the question back to me, he's like,
He was
I'm
like,
not.
well,
You don't
I'm
have
not
to.
a Muslim.
You don't have to question me, bro. I'm not. Like, why wouldn't he just say it? If you're a Christian, you're an atheist, you're a Jew, whatever, you're going to say it very clearly. It's not. Watch this. Hey Nick, is Muhammad a false prophet? Fuck yeah, he's a false prophet. See, that's it.
Another thing about oral law that people don't seem to understand about Judaism is that even in those who wrote the Mishnah and the Talmud, they debated the oral law. So we don't have it perfectly. Obviously, it's been passed down for generations and generations. There's still a lot of things that we do just to be safe because we don't know exactly how we're supposed to practice some things. Like, for instance, in kosher law, there's a lot of things that were discussed that we still don't know what the right way to do it. We do things to be safe. So people think like the oral Torah is like magically written divinely in the Mishnah and the Talmud. It's not. These are
Also, yeah, the Mishnah is not like
it's not God's word.
The Mishnah is not the oral Torah. The Mishnah is a foundational compilation of Jewish oral law, right? It
it's
stems
the
from it, but it's
compilation
not
of the debates, right?
right.
In the
And
Talmud.
but to say yes, and obviously the Mishnah came way later. Honestly, it was just a stupid. It was just a stupid thing.
I just don't like that he said Ethiopians don't keep. They do. They have certain traditions that are oral law that they still
Oral
do keep.
traditions is the oral Torah.
Right.
Same thing. The Mishnah is the oral Torah. You can call it oral traditions. It's the same, but it's the oral Torah. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Now they even follow they follow Rav Chacham Yosef's teachings. So they do, they did, once they came back to the other tribes, they do all those things. It's not that
When
they
they move to
only
Israel,
follow
when
the
they move to
Torah.
Israel, they do.
Right. It's not that they only follow written Torah. That's Karaite Jews, and yeah.
I don't understand why it matters. Who cares?
I just because of the misinformation he was saying.
I don't understand why he cared.
What he's trying to say, but he's too scared to say because again, he's Muslim. This is how they argue. This is just the way they argue. What he's trying to say is that clearly the oral Torah is wrong because if it wasn't wrong, then why wouldn't the Ethiopian Jews have it? Because they would have received it at Mount Sinai. Again, he's going under the impression that first off, a lot of the Ethiopian Jews would have been persecuted and slaughtered. Okay, just like a lot of the Israelites were before they left out. Okay. And so he's under the impression, right, that I guess the Israelites, all of them would have known the oral Torah. So when the Beta Israel left and went into their diaspora, if you will, that they should have carried on the oral traditions, which, as Renzi said, they did to an extent, but it's not everything because, again, not every single Israelite knew.
Yeah, when it was also the Ethiopians weren't in contact with the Jewish world for a very long time. Other than like the Sephardic and Ashkenazi Jews in Europe and the Middle East, they kept in touch with each other, and there was always some sort of universal agreement, right? The Ethiopians weren't found until the late 1900s.
Right. If a community becomes isolated from the rest of the Jews, Israelites, whatever, you're gonna lose, if not all of it, most of these traditions that are passed down. Of course you're going to. It makes sense. Like even when they had the Mishnah and the Gemara and they codified all this with the Talmud, they had to work together and have these conversations over a very long period. If it was really just something you just have in your mind, even if let's say it's just the priests and not all Israelites, well then arguably one person could have written the whole entire Talmud and been done with it. But no, it takes a community to build upon that. And so if you're isolated, in this case Beta Israel, of course you're not going to have everything. But there's also a lot of things that the Ethiopian Jews lost that are even arguably in the Torah that they weren't doing. And now they're starting to, now that they're back into the tribe and they're actually working with communities in Israel and everything to actually kind of help with this stuff. They
don't reject the Talmud and they don't reject any of it.
Right.
So
exactly. So yeah, like Cameron said, it really didn't matter. It's just a stupid Muslim argument.
It's so dumb because a lot of Ethiopians in Israel are religious. Like there's big religious Ethiopian communities who the women cover their hair, they grow out payas. Those are not in the Torah. Those are tradition. Those are oral tradition. So
yeah, he's just being dumb. It was just honestly it was just a stupid argument. It really didn't make any sense. It didn't matter. It was a dumb argument. I'm just saying that's where he was trying to go with it, but failed. Anyways, all right. It's already 11:20, and I haven't done any mingles, so I don't even know if I can. It's already getting late. Yeah. You know what? We'll just skip mingle for tonight. Let's go down some news, you guys. Let me pull up X right now. Okay, let's see. So yeah, again, if you guys haven't seen this, we played it earlier. You guys should go check this out. Tucker Carlson is just real mad at President Trump because he said Allah be with, wait, what did he say? He said praise be to Allah. And Tucker, who is defending Islam more than I've ever seen him really defend Christianity, honestly. But anyways, yeah, he got real upset at that. He got really frustrated at that. He, of course, no mention of the Christians that were slaughtered on Palm Sunday in Nigeria. But if you say praise be to Allah,
he was trolling, obviously.
Well, that's what he got upset at, is that he was trolling, using Islam as a
Oh, I thought he was mad because he was saying a Islamic thing.
No. It's the opposite. He's mad because you shouldn't mock Islam.
Oh.
You haven't seen the video? Here, I'll play it right now.
Especially on Easter, and he said the F word. I mean, my gosh.
This is
Who
the
do
video.
you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning? You'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah.
Look at his face. Look, that's his face right now after he read that Trump said that. I haven't seen him that mad at anything with Christian persecution. Well, he never brings up real Christian persecution, but even when he brings up what he deems as Christian persecution, aka Israel stopped someone from going to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre because of home front command laws, or rulings, right? I haven't even seen him made a face like that. But look, you talk about Islam. Look at that face. Oh my gosh.
So obviously you're mocking the religion of Iran. Okay. If you seek a religious war, that's a good idea.
And I said this earlier, but I think that's funny that he believes mocking Islam could stir up a religious war. And I wish I can speak to Tucker. I'd be like, why would that cause a religious war? If somebody were to mock Christianity in a similar way, right? They sarcastically say something like, praise be to Jesus, or, Christ is king. Let's say someone said it sarcastically. Would that stir up a religious war? Or why is it that with Islam that would stir up a religious war? It's kind of serious, man.
But by the way, no decent person mocks other people's religions. You may have a problem with the theology. Presumably you do if it's not your religion, and you can explain what that is. But to mock other people's faith is to mock the idea of faith itself. And we should never mock that, because at its core is the acknowledgement that we are not in charge of the universe. We did not build it. We won't be here at the end of it. We can destroy life. We cannot create it because we are not God. The message of all faith.
What the fuck does that even mean? I mean, yeah, I agree with him, but like, why are you even bringing that up? What does saying praise be to Allah have anything to do at all with implying that you're God or you can create life? Like, where did that even come from?
At the biggest picture level is the message in our Bible, which is
Hasn't he
you
mocked
are not
Jews,
God. And only if
being
you think
like,
you are do you
a
talk this
bunch
way.
of people sitting around eating hummus, like.
But it's
you mock
not
people
just
all the fucking
mockery
time.
of Islam. And no president should mock Islam. That's not your job. This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective. We are not a theocracy. And God willing, we never will be, because theocracies corrupt the religion. No, this is a mockery not just of Islam. It's a mockery of Christianity. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without...
Remember, if you're a true Christian, you can only say the F word after Easter's over.
Explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't...
Yeah. Now, not only did he mock Islam, he also mocked Christianity. Here is...
And he called him evil.
Wait, that's not it. Here is Tucker Carlson just 2 decades ago. Almost to the T.
Okay, I'm a bigot. He'd need to say, look, I'm a bigot. Okay, I'm a bigot. I don't like Islamic extremists. Like, if you are really heavily into Islam, I'm sorry, I don't care for you that much. And I don't care what that sounds like. You can call me a racist. You can come where the fuck you want.
And at this juncture, you could say that and not catch a lot of shit for
You
it.
certainly.
Wow. doth protest. Anyways, so yeah, that was the video. Here is this guy inside Israel Intel. He posts these, I think, once a day, really. If he actually I haven't seen him miss a day, but maybe, you know, if he gets busy. And he gives kind of a 24-hour updates on like operational updates, Israel-US war with the Islamic Republic. I think they're pretty good if you guys want like a general gist to just read real quick. Anyways, heavy strike activity continued across Iran while Iran maintained intermittent but still damaging attacks into Israel and across the Gulf. Open source reporting, civilian footage, and mainstream outlets including the New York Times, AP, Okay. Inside Iran, the most concrete strike detail in this window is the continued targeting of Iran's energy and industrial base. I also want to say, if you guys didn't see President Trump earlier today, he said that he's giving till 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So he said in a 4-hour period, they can send a lot of shit. Every bridge, energy, blah, 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 blah. So, I gotta be honest, you guys know I voted for Trump, and I like a lot of his policies. For me, something that Trump... sometimes he doesn't always... A lot of people in the comments are like, yeah, Trump doesn't make empty threats. Look, yeah, he does. It's not a harp on Trump. It's not that I hate him. It's just like, we got to be a little honest. Sometimes he does. I wish he wouldn't. Not necessarily because I even agree with his threats all the time. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's just, if you're going to say that and then you don't end up following through, people then they notice that. And not just the people you're fighting, the people you're not fighting as well. They also take note of it, right? Because if you're doing it as a way to scare them and you're just hoping that it'll force them to the table, okay, fine, fair enough. But one of the best ways to ensure people believe your threats in the future is to follow through with them at times. Because what happens if it doesn't work? Like, what happens if they say they call your bluff? So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Iranian strikes on Israel. I'm not going to read the whole report, but I'm just letting you guys know. You guys can read all this. He comes with videos. This guy was eliminated. The head of the intelligence of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Majid Kademi. He was eliminated.
That's just more winning. I don't think you understand. When they lose people, that's them winning.
Yeah, exactly.
So they've been doing a lot of winning the last 3 or 4 days.
Speaking of winning,
we took out 50. You see, we took out 50 of them during the rescue operation.
Yeah, I did see that.
That was a good one. That's a lot of victory for the IRGC. Good job.
They're just smarters, dude. Okay, so here's another breaking. More winning. They eliminated Asghar Bagheri.
Winning.
Did you talk about how Rubio took away the visas of Soleimani's kids?
Yeah.
Or niece or whatever.
Soleimani's niece. Yeah, that's right. That's true.
They were picked up by ICE and went, bye-bye.
Did you see that the Ayatollah's, the Nepo baby, the baby Tolla, the new one, owns like $10 million worth of property overlooking downtown London?
Who, Mojtaba?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, look it up. It's like in a very critical part too. They're overlooking something very important. Look up Khomeini owns property in London.
I couldn't find an answer, but the thing that's pissing me off, and I couldn't find when they came, so I don't know if it was during the Obama administration or the Trump administration or maybe a long time ago. I don't know. But I'm glad Rubio revoked the green cards of Soleimani's family. But why were they given it in the first place? Like, what have we been doing in this country? Like, were we just cowboying before, just giving people? We had that guy whose family was Hezbollah members that attacked that synagogue. Why was he even in the country in the first place? Is our background checks not capable of seeing, like, oh, your family's in Hezbollah? Oh, you're the niece of Soleimani? Like, what the fuck?
You think they're doing you're assuming they were doing background checks.
Well, that pisses me off. And again, I couldn't find. I tried to look when they came in. I couldn't find it. But whether I don't care if it was Obama, Trump, or but I don't care. Like, what the fuck are we doing? That should be an immediate fuck you. You're not allowed in this country. I don't even care if you hate your uncle. Nope. If you sorry, sucks to suck. If you guys, I'm not going on Umingle. I get it. You're begging me. I understand. I know you guys want me to, but like I can't. I'm exhausted. It's I know you guys are saying 30 minutes only, but it'll never go for 30 minutes. I'm really sorry. I love you guys, but I promise you. How about tomorrow when I go live? I'll go on Umingle earlier. Okay. But I can't because it's never going to be a 30-minute thing, you guys. It takes 30 minutes to 60 minutes to even find someone worth talking to, and then from there it's another like 60 minutes. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. It's too it's too late.
The son of Iran's supreme leader controls a global property empire, including over a dozen luxury properties in London worth over $120 million, such as mansions on Billionaires Row, the Bishop's Avenue. Yeah. It's a very prime piece of real estate. Where did he get all that money from? I guess being a Ayatollah is a pretty good paying gig, huh? Like, maybe I should become an Ayatollah. I would like to own $120 million worth of property. That's great. That's a good gig.
That's hilarious.
That's selling a lot of Tahdig rice at the bake sale. You know what I mean? You got to sell a lot of Tahdig rice at the bake sale to get that kind of money.
So this Asmongold, I saw this on his stream, and so I went to go find it to repost it because it was so good. Asmongold, Reddit, and what more to say? Thanks for the super chat, Aval. No Caribs today. I get it, car Arabs. That's hilarious. So this guy right here said, and this got a lot of views. Look at this. This got 19.6 million views, 38,000 likes. He says, lose all this to rescue one pilot and call it your greatest military success of all time.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And
we have way more.
And this guy said it perfectly. I can't comment on it because he stole the words. This is perfect, so I'll just repeat what he said. I'm noticing a lot of foreigners who seem to not understand why we'd risk hundreds of lives, spend millions of dollars, and sacrifice several aircraft to rescue one guy. And the reason just listen to this. And the reason they don't understand is also the reason people can't be made American by a piece of paper.
Boom.
Oh.
Bars.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Just let me read that one more time. And the reason they don't understand is also the reason people can't be made American by a piece of paper. You just don't get it. You just don't get it. And there's no way we can get you to get it. It's
Israel
just
gets it, but yeah.
this guy with the French flag, like he's. Let's see where his location is specifically, because he has more than one flag in his. Let's see. Hold on. He is Poland. Okay, he's in Poland, but he has the French flag, Polish flag, so he's maybe both. Whatever. Point is, not American is the point. These foreigners, right? And look, you can think it's dumb, and it's just what can Americans say to you to get it? You're not gonna get it. There's nothing we can say. You're not going to understand. Yes, absolutely.
A lot of Polish people are Nazis today after Hitler killed 3 million of their own people. So yeah, they don't really learn quickly, it seems. So they wouldn't get it.
But
General Keane said today in an interview, it takes 1 year to build a plane. It takes 200 years to train a military to leave no man behind.
Oh, I heard that. Yes, I heard that one.
Amazing. It's not just Polish people or French people. It's all European. It's all foreigners. Honestly, there's nobody else in the world that could really understand.
Well, because the birth of our country was based on freedom, dignity, unity, a shared ideology. It's not the same as Europe. The fuck.
Yeah. It's
They wouldn't get it. Why would they get it?
You exactly. You can't get it. Just the reason they don't understand is also the reason people can't be made American by a piece of paper. I fucking wow. That got me just fucking bleeding red, white, and blue here. Everyone knows it too. Honestly, everyone does. Everyone knows it. Everyone speaks about America because we matter and their countries don't. Just a fact.
It's time for us to leave. It's time for us to leave NATO. It really is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we should absolutely leave NATO. NATO's doing nothing for us. With what you told me earlier.
No, they're not doing nothing. They're actually working against us.
No,
If they
right.
were just
Actually,
doing
I said this
nothing-
yesterday. Yeah, that's true.
If they were just doing nothing, that'd be one thing. It still wouldn't be great, but it'd be one thing. They
They're
are
doing
actively
harm.
undermining our efforts.
What exactly? I'm just confused. What exactly are they doing with all the money that America sends to them? I didn't really wrap this up earlier, but I said it earlier when you told me
Welfare.
16 of their 17 ships are under repair right now in the UK. Like, we spend, and nobody can argue against this, we spend way more than any other NATO ally to help build up this coalition, this military coalition. We give money to Israel. They certainly use it. In fact, seems like they use more. It's like, it's insane how they're able to stretch what they have militarily. Their budget is, don't get me wrong, it's high for a country of its size, but it's not high in raw numbers. And Israel does things militarily that I haven't seen from anyone, honestly. And so, how is it that we're able to give this money to Israel and they use it in a way that, again, I haven't seen from any military in some ways, including our own, but we send all this money to all these European countries, specifically for military purposes and a military coalition, and their 16 of their 17 ships in the UK are under repair right now. What the fuck have you been doing up to this point?
Welfare.
Right. Exactly.
They used the protection of the U.S. military umbrella to create high levels of social welfare. In the UK, there's tens and tens and tens of thousands of Muslims that are getting free housing. And this is why they have low growth, stagnant economies. When the EU started, when they formed the EU, which was a direct attack at the United States, the EU and the United States had the same GDP. Our GDP was almost equal since the EU started. Today, we're double the entire EU.
Yeah.
Double the entire EU. It's a dying continent.
All right, Nico, dude, I'll let you up, but I gotta say, people that usually beg over and over and put like spam emojis and stuff to come up. Wait, you're not even requesting. Fuck, I hate people, dude. Anyways, I was gonna say people that generally are like begging and just spamming over and over are generally not the best people to debate against. But that being said, now I'm really pissed because you're not even in the request. All right, anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, this channel right here on X, Torah Jews, these guys are not actually Jewish. They were exposed a while ago for, I don't think they're necessarily Muslim. Actually, they might have been. I don't remember. So they posted something and forgot to change accounts, and it was like some Arab name. But whatever, they still pretend to be Jews. So they put right here, no, Judaism is not an ethnocentric religion, which is funny because they're quoting this person, or sorry, answering this person. Judaism is an ethno-religion. It's funny how they take the word and they purposely change it to make their, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'll read the whole thing. Judaism is not an ethnocentric religion. What ethnical characteristics do Syrian, Russian, Iranian, or American Jews have in common? None, which is obviously bullshit. It's a religion that's our common denominator. First off, before I tell you guys my answer, it's funny that he puts, like, he debunks himself immediately. He's like, oh, what do they have in common? And then the very next sentence after none is, it's the religion that's our common denominator. For those that don't know, religion, especially an ethno-religion, but religion is part of culture. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to immediately debunk yourself. But that being said, on top of religion, language, shared ancestry, peoplehood identity, which is very big, especially in tribes, shared historical narrative, shared religious law. Mentioning it doesn't remove the fact that it is ethnicity based, because it is. Culture, endogamy, diaspora identity, cultural continuity across diaspora communities, And I put more because I'm sure that was just off the top of my head. There's obviously more to it. All of that has nothing to do with religion, and other than the shared religious law. I guess you can argue that one. And so, yeah, it's insane. A Syrian Jew is going to have it, just like an American Jew, a Yemeni Jew, Ethiopian Jew, those in Israel. There might be some, of course, there are some in the diaspora, what's the word? Local regional differences, of course. Like, for example, the Ashkenazi Jews used Hebrew in the local languages to make Yiddish versus Ladino, etc., right? There's going to be regional differences, of course, when you're in the diaspora, especially for 2,000 years. But this idea that Judaism is not an ethnocentric religion or ethno-religion, of course it is. First off, your name are Torah Jews, which, again, they're not actually. But if you're pretending to be, you agree with the religion. Are you saying it's not an ethnicity?
It is an ethno religion, but it is not ethnocentric.
Agreed. And that's why this guy changed the words, right? This guy, he was answering this person right here. He said, liar, Judaism is an ethno-religion. That is how we know this account isn't Jewish. And then he changed it on purpose. Judaism is not an ethnocentric religion. It's like, that's not what the person said. He did that on purpose because he knows he's lying. Or she or whatever. I don't fucking know. It's a group of people. Let's see what else we got here.
That's good enough.
Oh yeah, I didn't read all this. I actually reposted it because I wanted to remind myself, because I read enough where I was agreeing with it or it was interesting. So supposedly Bassem Youssef, that moron, I guess he posted this maybe on accident or whatever, because he deleted it relatively quickly. Or maybe it wasn't on accident. Maybe he just realized, I probably shouldn't have said that. He deleted it relatively quickly. And wait, where the heck is it? Oh, here it is. And this guy said, I've never used the siren icon, but this post needs it. Bassem Youssef, the Egyptian Hamas supporter who holds an American passport, whose lies since October 7th have served the Islamic Jihad in the West, like many others, and whom I warned you about and told you. Okay, this doesn't matter. He makes it vulnerable, posted something today, and then immediately deleted it. In that post, he reveals to his Arabic-speaking audience his real sentiment towards the United States. Among the things he said that expose him, he told his followers not to celebrate Iranian gains in this war and to be realistic, because even though 13 American soldiers were killed, and it's their right to celebrate, just as they used to celebrate when Hamas terrorists blew up Israeli tanks and killed IDF soldiers, Iran is still losing overall, just as Gaza was destroyed. He literally called the American army the enemy, but he called his followers not to be very optimistic, and even though inflating the achievements of the Iranians is important, yet it doesn't mean they are really winning. Now, before I keep reading, I never thought I'd say this, but Bassem Youssef, other than calling the American army the enemy, he's actually correct. And these are actually the people we should watch, right? We may be like, oh, he's saying the truth, and it may feel good online, but these are the people that actually could make change in the positive direction for the Arabs and the Islamists, right? Even though it's annoying to deal with these Islamists, who consistently are like saying the most dumb shit, and they come up on your lives, you debate them in comment section, and it's like you want to pull your hair out. In the end, it's actually good. I'll tell you why. Because if these people consistently think getting their asses beat and handed to them is winning, again, it's very annoying, but it's good in the grand scheme of things. It's good. You want them to continue to think that, because that means they're never going to change. So Bassem Youssef, again, other than calling the American army the enemy, which of course he thinks that way, he's correct. This idea that you think that Iran is winning because they have some quote-unquote, I guess, victories. Yeah. Okay. Where is it? People like him hate America. He does not deserve to hold an American passport or to use we when referring to the United States. Below is a literal translation of his post, but those of us who understand Arabic can grasp what can never be translated. He said, life is beautiful. Life is very beautiful. Life gives you hope. It gives you energy, but loving life more than necessary can turn into blindness, and maybe I'm wrong. Someone like me watches people celebrating military victories for Iran or for its fighters in Iran, and I can understand that. Standing firm and not breaking in front of a great empire in history is certainly something inspiring. I myself am afraid of the scenes we used to celebrate, and we had the right to celebrate, of course. When someone in Gaza blows up a tank from zero distance, there were indeed heroic acts, truly brave. But in the end, unfortunately, time passes and Gaza gets emptied, destroyed, and nearly 100,000 people die in exchange for losses that are almost negligible on the other side. The same idea of celebrating killing 6 or 10 or even 12 soldiers from the American army or breaking the nose of the Iranians, because unfortunately we see the American or Israeli soldier as having the value of hundreds of us, even if there aren't thousands of us. Glorifying Iranian achievement, which that's, again, I hate to say it, but he's so right. It's so interesting that the Arabs, they consistently think, right? They consistently think like, oh, we're more important than you, and Israel are evil, and blah, blah, blah. But subconsciously or consciously, they actually put more value on Americans and Israelis than they do their own people. You don't believe me? Ask yourself, how many times have they asked for, well, look at Gilad Shalit. Gilad Shalit was traded, if you will, for 1,027, mostly terrorists, right? But let's even put titles aside, just Palestinians. 1,000, wait, someone said 1,207? No, that's not right. No, I'm pretty sure it was 1,027 or 1,017. I think
That was 1,021.
Oh, he did a mistype. Yeah, 1,027. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Regardless, more than 1,000 people. That's the point. More than 1,000 people for one Israeli. What you're saying to the world effectively, right? What you're saying effectively is, hey, you think that Israelis are worth 1,000 times more than your own people.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so you guys are saying that. If you think that about your own people, why do you think I, Nick Matau, should give a shit? Right? Like, if you don't care that much about your own people, right? It's like, why are you convincing me? In fact, let's look more into it. What did they do with Shiri Bibas? Right? When they gave the Bibas family back in coffins, turns out the mother wasn't actually Shiri Bibas. It was actually some Palestinian woman. And guess what? There were zero. I looked. There was not one video from any pro-Palestinian on any social media complaining about it. And when people were telling me pro-Palis, when I brought that up in my live back then, they're like, "Why would we complain about it?" I was like, you clearly don't get it. I'll tell you why right now. If Israel were to do that, let's say hypothetically they were holding a body, right? And they did a negotiation with Hamas, the Gazans, and they said, okay, we'll give you back, let's say Sinwar's body. I don't know. Okay? We'll give you back this body in exchange for whatever. Imagine if Israel just, oopsie, we gave back a body of just some Israeli Jewish person. It wasn't actually who we said it was. And they took that body and put it into Gaza, that hellhole, right? Do you understand how many Israelis, right to left, to religious to secular, would be so upset at that? They would be protesting in the streets. They'd be and they'd be rightfully pissed. Like, how dare you take one of our people and put it into their hands? Did you hear any pro-Palestinian care at all about whoever that woman actually was? Which, by the way, didn't end up mattering. Israel gave that woman back and rightfully requested and verified that the Bibas mother was returned to them. But why did none of them care? Why did none of them care? It's like, you care so much about the Palestinian people. Hamas just gave Israel one of your people, and you were just like, whatever. Right? So why should I care? Why should I care about your people if you don't care? Anyways, glorifying Iranian achievements is wait, did I already read this? No, I didn't. Is understandable and important in itself, but guys, war is going in a very brutal direction. Even if America loses soldiers in a ground invasion, even if energy prices go up and ignite, we are not dealing with a country, America, that cares about the lives of its people, or even its soldiers, or even about rising prices. We are dealing with individuals and war companies for whom this doesn't matter. Even if the president we call crazy, forget the idea that these are countries or governments against. Yeah, he's just kind of repeating himself. But essentially, here we go.
Doesn't the
Shooting
rescue-
down. Yeah, this is it. Go ahead.
Doesn't the rescue operation show how much we care about our soldiers?
Right. Here we go. This is what I wanted to read. Shooting down one plane out of 15,000 sorties means nothing. Again, I hate to say it because I never thought I would say this about Bassem Youssef, but he's correct. Like, don't get me wrong. No American wants to wake up to the news that it was more than one plane. It was, 2, but nobody wants to wake up to that. Nobody wants to wake up to, hey, one of our guys is trapped for almost 2 days in the mountains of Iran. Nobody wants to wake up to that. But in the grand scheme of things, we're looking militarily. What are they celebrating for? Yeah, it is bound to happen. We hope it doesn't. Of course, we hope it doesn't. 15,000, probably more actually. 15,000 sorties. Yeah, it's possible they're going to shoot down one. It is. And Bassem Youssef is correct. Again, I hate that he's correct. I don't want the Arabs to think this way. I want them to continue. Again, it's very annoying. I get it, you guys. It's so annoying seeing it in the comment section. Oh, we're winning. But I'd rather than be that stupid, dumb, barbaric-ass people that are just like, hey, dude, we're winning. Like, good. Let's let them believe that. Anyways, the rest really doesn't matter. That's what I wanted to read.
That guy's requesting that you were talking to before.
Jesus Christ. He couldn't even figure out a request and was supposed to debate this guy? All right, fine. You got to make it quick, though, because I want to go to bed.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Go ahead, Nico.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, bro?
Good. What's up? What's on your mind?
How you doing, bro?
Again,
My name's
good.
Nico, bro. How you doing? How's your night been?
Okay, again, for the third time, good. I appreciate you being
sorry,
nice,
I'm
but you've
delayed,
asked
bro.
3 different ways how my night's going. It's good. Everything's good. Everything's all kosher.
Cool. No, I just wanted to have a discussion with you. Like, I wanted to see give me something to talk about.
All right, bye.
Not that interesting, dude. Seriously.
You waited that fucking long and you're telling me to tell you what to say? Get the fuck out of here, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be live tomorrow. If you are as smart as you think you are, how about you fucking think of what you should say? There's a whole fucking prompt above my head that you're more than capable of reading. Figure it out, dude. Fucking A. Fucking waste of my fucking time, dude. Anyways. Oh yeah, so this guy tried to say that it's a lie that Iran doesn't have a blackout. He's like, I'm in Iran, and I'm literally writing this with a VPN, and he's trying to say all you got to do is use a VPN, but even still, you don't have to. And by the way, he was actually going against Al Jazeera, which I guess props to Al Jazeera for even being somewhat truthful. Al Jazeera is saying, hey, there's a there's a blackout in Iran, and this guy's like, it's a lie, it's propaganda, blah 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 blah. And he tried to say this, right? Essentially, he's saying that there's no blackout in Iran. It's just a lie. But the problem with it is you can just look. Okay? A VPN. So this is what I said. I'll read it real quick. This dude just exposed himself as an Islamic regime puppet, which he did. Without government approval. This is true. The reason when you see these articles that say 95%, 99%, whatever, excuse me, is because there is a small amount of people that are allowed to get on the internet. And they are Islamic regime or they're puppets. That's literally the answer. That's why you can look this up. Here's the connectivity. This has been the shutdown since March 1st, or really February 28th. This is public information. You can look at it. Like, you're trying to gaslight us into saying that the Iranian people can't go on the internet. Of course they can't. You know how we know? Because we haven't heard from them. Anyways, without government approval, there is no internet connection from Iran to the outside world. There is non-existent traffic from Iran. Using a VPN doesn't create outbound connection. This is important because he tried to imply with his words, like if you use a VPN, somehow you'll get connection. VPN doesn't give you connection, dude. Changes your IP address. But it's not like, to get outbound connection, you still need that permission. Okay? Ergo, he has regime permission, is what I was getting at. It's just so insane, the amount of people. Like, I like, the Iranian people are probably being slaughtered right now, taken as political prisoners. I hate to say it, but it's probably true. And we're not going to know how bad that is. We might not ever know, actually, but we're not going to know at least even some inkling of information until we get past this. And, oh yeah, actually, let me check. I think he probably would be in Iran. Not that this is, it doesn't really say, it just says West Asia. So yeah, he might not even be in Iran. Just, it could be Iran or West Asia, but anyways, yeah, it's so insane. Anyways, oh, here's Candace Owens, because she's just, her tweets have been going down. She went from the millions to like hundreds of thousands at very best, but so she's back in the millions because here's her new grift. Here it comes. You guys ready? Candace Owens. The more that is coming out about this pilot rescue, it's looking like a massive disaster of a failed operation. Everything's a conspiracy with this woman that the Pentagon is lying about, that had nothing to do with rescuing, she says, a general. It wasn't a general, he was a colonel, but whatever. Independent journalists need to prod this Top Gun narrative. This may explain why Trump was enraged on Easter and demanding an end to satellite imagery. Yeah, okay. So anyways, of course I say, she calls a colonel a general, and before anyone says, like, who cares, it's semantics, whatever, if someone cannot get the most basic piece of information right, which, by the way, you could have just even copy-pasted. Like, let's say Candace would be the person that would call it colonel, right? You know, because she can't read, and she says words wrong all the time. And look, I'm not the best with English, but if Candace is my competition, you might as well call me, I might as well have a doctorate in English. But she would 100% read her teleprompter that says colonel and definitely say colonel. Like, I'd almost put money, I actually would put money on that. So you could have just copy pasted it into your tweet. But so if you can't get the basic piece of information from every article, by the way, which is correctly calling him a colonel, why are we to believe you that you have somehow this big top secret? Like, she'd call it colonial. That's a good point, Goldish. Probably would call it colonial. Here's the most cringe AI video ever that Iran released of Mojtaba. Like, it's so fucking cringe. Like, what the fuck? What even was that? What? Why did you... He just walks in. He's just looking at a Dimona nuclear reactor, something that you can find on Google Maps, the longitude and latitude. Like, what? Like, you had the ability to make whatever video you want because it's AI, and the best you made was this? And I just thought it was so funny because the past, like, month, right, everyone was saying that Bibi was AI and he's actually dead and every video from him was AI. And then the IRGC literally releases an AI video. Very cringe AI, if I might add, but very, very cringe AI, and they just kind of, like, there's no word.
Where's his boyfriend?
He's in the other room. He can't go into the top secret room of the Dimona nuclear reactor.
I want to see the boyfriend.
Yeah. So this right here is Matt Nuclear posted this video of my debate at one of my debates with at UCLA that I did recently.
We're not making nukes, and yet they attacked us anyway.
They're not making nukes?
They're not.
Oh, interesting. So the actual government official in Iran, and I can show you the video, specifically said, of course, we were making nukes.
Show me the video.
Yeah, sure. Let's see it. While I pull that up, I'm a nuclear engineer, by the way.
Oh, nice.
So I'd love to ask you, the over 400 kilograms of uranium that they had, they reached levels of, there were some levels that were up to close to 90% enrichment, but generally speaking, they had 60+% enrichment. Can you explain to me why they were at 60% plus enrichment levels? So you want to see it? I have it right here. Our real goal was to build a bomb. No point denying it. You mean the goal really was to make a bomb? Yes, 100%. If we could keep it secret and test the bomb, it would be over, just like Pakistan. Once we began, we had to finish it. That's an official speaker of the parliament.
we're not making nukes.
So I will give credit to this kid. He was dumb, but he did. If you guys watch the full video, it's on YouTube right now under Let's Do Something's page. He did say, like at the end, he's like, you know what? I don't know. Like, because I asked him what should we do instead of attack. He's like, oh yeah, just do sanctions. And I'm like, well, we already did that. And he's like, oh. I'm like, so what would you do after if that doesn't work? And they're continuing to slaughter their own people, threaten America, etc. And he did. He at the end was like, I don't know, actually. And so I'll give him that. Anyways, the reason I bring it up though is because this person laughed and put my posted my tattoo, my Hebrew tattoo, right? I guess that's I don't really get what that means. Like, I'm a Mossad agent. So I put, naturally, shit, you guys, I might need to stay off the internet for a bit. I've been exposed as a Mossad agent because of my Hebrew tattoo being visible in this video. This comes after Steph Curry, David Beckham, and Justin Bieber have also been exposed as secret Mossad agents. The comment section is not just that person. They're filled with, oh, he has a Hebrew tattoo, he must be a Jew. You know how many people have Hebrew tattoos?
Steph Curry has a Hebrew tattoo?
Yeah. He has 2 Hebrew tattoos. He has one that says Curry on his left, and his right has a Bible verse. I don't remember which one.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Steph Curry's Jewish. Did you not know that?
No, he's definitely not. And he's really good friends with Obama.
Right. But he's clearly Jewish because he has a Hebrew tattoo. David Beckham actually is part Jewish, I think, or I don't know if he practices Judaism. I don't actually know what his relation and his connection with Judaism is, but Harry Styles, yeah, Harry Styles has. There's a lot of people that have Hebrew tattoos. It's not fucking. I think Madonna has a Hebrew tattoo. Oh yeah, this is the clip of Asmongold reading the thing that I read earlier. Oh yeah, so this was going viral. Oh, finally, it's got the fucking. This is the problem with X. I love the idea of community notes. It takes way too fucking long. When I posted this 20 hours ago, and even a little after, it was not community noted. And let's see how many views it got. 500,000 views. Okay, so this video, I mean, it's very obviously AI, right? Because one, JFK died in 1963. And they did not really use... nationally, they didn't use Palestinian nationally at all until 1964 at least, right? It wasn't very common, so it didn't make sense. Anyways, so this was going viral. I'm glad it's community noted. Check this out.
I have made it clear to the Israeli leadership that I do not support their expansionist ideas. The indigenous people of that land have rights that cannot be ignored. We must find a fair solution, not one dictated by any single group.
Yeah, so that was going viral. Yeah, and if you look up this video, you can't find it existing from before 5-6 days ago. Like anywhere on the internet. No quotes, no nothing. Because it's obviously fucking AI. It doesn't even look at his jaw exactly in the comment section. Look at his jaw.
Made it clear to the
Why is it all
Israeli
fucking
leadership
wonky?
that I do not support their expansionist.
You know, I remember when AI was first kind of like starting to get popular. I remember Donnie, she told me, she's like, dude, AI is going to be bad. It can like start wars because you can get leaders to say whatever, you know, they want or whatever you want. And it can like, how are we going to know when it's fake or not? Right now, you can still kind of tell when something's AI, but this time next year, especially, it's going to be indistinguishable. Maybe not next year, sooner than later. But I said to her, I was like, you know what's the problem? It's not even AI fake videos. It's not people that are confused if fake videos are real or not. That the problem with AI that I think is going to be the biggest problem is we're not going to know when a video is actually real because then people can just say it's AI. That's the problem. The opposite. It's not fake videos that we have to prove is fake. It's real videos that we have to prove is real. But yeah, it's anyways. If you guys see that video, it's AI. All right. That's all we got. It's past midnight. You guys, I will go on Umingle earlier tomorrow. All right. Hey, Chats. Laditov, Mr. Ochai. God bless America. Bye, y'all.